like the answer to the question for me is I don't know. I don't know how much.
And I might be romanticizing it a bit. Like, does that mean his whole season changes? I don't know. Maybe a guy like that, it does.
He doesn't even need that much of a change, but he does need to change when it matters most, though. But I think he should be feeling good that he came through on a big moment. And again, we can say it till we're blue in the face. It probably should have been acknowledged more. But I just hope he carries the confidence through, because I do believe this is a player who runs on confidence, and he is in a lot of ways the motor of this team, and therefore his confidence is very, very important. But I think one other key takeaway from the Mitch Marner experience at the Four Nations Face-Off is that he can be demoted, he can be promoted, and both of those things can work in tandem and work to the benefit of a coaching staff. The story of his Four Nations Face-Off was one of redemption. As he started on the top line, it didn't work. He started playing a checking role. He played less minutes. He played more of a defensive function. And then in the game that mattered the most, he had a little pop. He had a little jump. He had more than other guys who were put in front of him, and he was pulled back up the lineup and delivered. So, this has been a huge thing the entire tenure with Matthews and Marner and Nylander and Tavares. Can you drop any of them down? Are any of them going to deal with being demoted or a lesser role or less ice time or whatever it has to be? But we saw Marner get demoted and him not sulk, him do his job, and him ultimately earn himself back up the lineup and deliver in a big, big spot. So I would like to see that used more. If these guys aren't going, if the two-line thing isn't working, if the third line sucks so bad that you need help for it, then you're gonna have to take from other places. And hopefully Mitch Marner, if he ever finds himself playing a little less in a different function, checking the number one priority, that he can still have that game. He can still do that function, but also play at a level where he demands that he be brought back up, and he can help the team that way.
Yeah, I think that's super fair. And obviously he's been a great regular season performer. I think we will circle back this conversation about how much did it mean for Marner to have two big moments in a 4-game series in the biggest best-on-best hockey we've seen in 10 years. We'll probably have that same conversation when it comes to first round of the playoffs. But let's look ahead to tonight a little bit, because I wanted to touch on one other thing from last night that I think is a talking point tonight. Alec Steves, who's a guy that we've had conversations about for the last couple of years, he has come up and down with the Marlies and is an amazing Marley. And last night he got an opportunity and he capitalized on it. 2 points in 9 minutes. He scored the first goal of the game, and that was his first NHL goal. He's only had 1 point in his previous 11 NHL games. He's been up and down over 4 seasons, and he's amazing in the AHL. He's got 29 goals, which is most in the league, 46 points in 40 games. He's had a couple tries with the Leafs, and I'm thinking, okay, is this the time that it sticks for Alec Steves? And, spoiler alert, he'll probably be one of my players to watch. But I just think right now he's got an opportunity with no Max Pacioretty, with no Dewar, and he's on that fourth line. But he's just got such a goal scorer mentality. I'm curious to see if he can string together a few good spots here with the Leafs, and maybe that helps with some of this bottom six discussion when it comes to the trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, he's played fewer games than I expected. Like when I was just thinking about him last night, I was like, wow, maybe like 20 games. Took you a while to score your first goal, and that's not great.
11.
He's only played 12 games over the space of 4 seasons, culminating into last night's sort of breakthrough for him. And I don't know. I mean, to me, he probably fits the mold as a guy who's been around for a while. How old is he?
Like 26.
Born in 99, so 25 years old. Like, there's still a little bit of time there to develop into something.
Now or never for me.
But it does feel like a guy who's like, oh, you're elite. There are guys who are just elite American Hockey League players and have trouble doing that or scoring goals at the highest level. And that makes sense, too, because there's only so many top 6 positions. There are guys who can score at a lower level, and there are guys who can dominate at a lower level but can't bring much else to the table to sort of just fit in like Bobby McMahon does. But if you're a good team and you're a well-oiled organization, you need to be able to pick from your American Hockey League team with guys of different classifications. Like, there's got to be an energy guy. There's got to be a goal scorer. There's got to be a playmaker. Because if you're looking to fill a void, fill a position on your roster, you shouldn't be picking, just the guy who's going and just making it work. You should be able to pull someone who can actually put the puck into the net. And Steves wasn't necessarily playing that role given the deployment, but you want to have a variety, the spice of life down there at the American Hockey League level, or you're not optimizing your roster on a routine basis. Alex Steves is probably going to be just mostly an American Hockey League player that scores a lot of goals and has a great career doing that, but maybe he'll get some spots in bigger positions when there's a time and place for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I think there's a lot of value there.
We will see him on the fourth line. Do you want to go through the lines for the Leafs tonight? We only got about 3 minutes till we take a break here.
I will find them very
I have them in the doc
quickly
for you. They are there for you.
Okay.
The
doc is a large document. I got them now.
For you. Okay.
They will go again with Matthew Nyes, Austin Matthews, and Mitch Marner on the top line. Pontus Holmberg, who had a good night as well, with John Tavares and William Nylander. We'll see that run back. McMahon, Domi, and Robertson is the third line, with Lorentz, Kampf, and Steves as the fourth unit. Again, that kind of goes to what I'm talking about, playing fourth line role, but would he be best served for something a little bit bigger? I guess so. Riley and Ekman-Larsson, the top pair. McCabe and Tanev, the top shutdown pair. And then Benoit and Timmins. Timmins a little banged up last night, but was able to finish and will play tonight. Joseph Woll will start opposed Arvid Soderblom.
He's had the Leafs number, right?
Last year, he had two miraculous performances. The Leafs did beat old Arvid earlier this year, though. So maybe they've figured out a way to get through on Soderblom.
That's good stuff. Okay. Any last tidbits here in our messy doc? You wanted to mention something about Leafs and Matthew Kachuck. You only have 2 minutes, though. Do you want to save that for
no, this is very quick. Matthew Kachuck, we all saw it, heard at the Four Nations. There's some speculation that this could be a very, very serious thing. If he misses the remainder of the season, opportunity awaits here. Winning the division was always the priority, but winning the division has to happen if Matthew Kachuck is going to miss a lot of time. And what does that do for your impetus ahead of the trade deadline, which is, coming up here March 7th? If Matthew Kachuck is not an option for the Florida Panthers, the Maple Leafs should fancy themselves by far as the best team in their division, and they should act accordingly ahead of the deadline.
I think that's fair. And last time I checked, I was looking, they're still plus money to win division, and they have 2 games in hand. Behind the Panthers with 1 point behind them, 70 points for the Leafs and only 56 games played. So it could be a good time to
the moment Matthew Kachuck, if he's announced out, that'll change. So it might be a good time to buy on that.
Yeah, I did hear a little bit of rumblings on Twitter for the last day that something serious could be wrong with him physically.
Yeah, I've heard the same. And it was
good. It was a good one.
It was a seriously questionable decision, therefore, to play in that game. Not because you could.
Did you hear Kipper on this?
I may have.
Oh, he laid into him and said it was so selfish that he played.
Exactly.
Cooking him.
It hurts the Panthers. It hurts the United States in a game that was literally 50.1% in favor of Canada. That could have swung with Kyle Connor on the ice.
And Kyle Connor yesterday had 10 shots on goal. You think he wanted to score? They did win in a shootout against the Blues. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll get back to you on the other side with Puck Drop almost. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
The all-electric Honda Prologue SUV is here at your local Ontario Honda dealer. And with features perfect for the city and the backcountry, like all-wheel drive for tougher winter roads and a range up to 450 kilometers on a full charge, you may think Honda made an electric SUV just for Ontario. Get up to a $12,000 Honda bonus on all remaining 2024 Prologue models. Plus, qualified Honda owners get an additional $2,000 loyalty bonus. OAC conditions apply. Range based on combined city and highway. Bonus available when you lease or finance through HFS at a standard rate. See HondaOntario.com.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists? The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Ah, at last, the Subaru winter is here. It's the perfect weather for the beach. Feel the sun's rays on the small amount of skin peeking out of your ski mask. Put on your beach puffer and hear the sound of the waves crashing over the chatter of your teeth. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
Hi, I'm Fortune Feimster.
And I'm Tom Papa.
And together we host What a
What
Joke.
a Joke.
It says both read separately.
Oh, jeez.
Tom, tell the good people what our show's about.
Our show is where comedy lives and where comedians come to visit.
I love that.
Check us out.
Cheers, Insiders! Hockey fans, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Just by being here, you are making a difference with our donation every single game to SickKids Hospital in Toronto. SickKids has affected my life because I wouldn't be here today if it was not for the work that they've done. And I know that it's affected a lot of your lives as well as extended family members. Anyways, I just wanted to say we wrapped up the football frenzy where we did every single game of the college football playoffs and the NFL playoffs live and hung out together and had a good time, kept it classy, and now the donation's over $1,200. Get ready for March Madness, everybody. We're going to be starting up a campaign for the 2025 Create 100K. Go check out the community posts and you'll see the 2024 results after the MLB playoffs. Let's get back to the hockey. Good luck to your team.
The excitement of the UEFA Champions League knockout stage on Sirius XM FC. Europe's best clubs.
What a start for Inter! And Barca are level! Brilliant Arsenal goal!
The world's brightest stars.
Mbappe! Kane! Salah to score!
All chasing club soccer's ultimate prize.
A new page in their glorious history!
The Champions League knockout stage, where legends are made. On Sirius XM FC, channel 157 in the car, and the Sirius XM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Four Nations Team Canada face-off associate GM Jim Nill. You as a manager view goaltending going into the tournament in February.
Yeah, we're talking about two of the guys that won Stanley Cups and play in those type of pressure games. That's a pretty good resume to have. So we're pretty confident with it and pretty confident with the team that we're going to have playing in front of them.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Avalanche General Manager Chris McFarland. What went in to maybe change that duo in goal?
You know, with the work of our scout, Wedgwood's experience, he was a veteran guy. He's been through the grind. We were very bullish on McKenzie, and when the opportunity came to add him, we just felt it was the right move for us, long term.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
This is Molson Leafs Hockey. On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network. There's a Molson with your name on it.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert, the first Leafs game that we've done in quite a while. And we've got Leafs and Blackhawks, an Original Six matchup on a Sunday night after the Four Nations face-off. We are fired up.
Yeah, we are. As fired up as you can be for Chicago, Toronto.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing Connor Bedard, but I expect to be a little sad at the end of the night.
Ooh.
If that makes sense, because it's been so bad.
Well, maybe he's got a little,
Connor Bedard?
Prove it mentality tonight. He feels slighted.
You're anticipating a lot of prove it attitude tonight.
I am.
We'll see how much prove it we get tonight. You can't prove it as much as Jordan Binnington did the other night. So
he's the ultimate
that's a high bar.
It sure is. Well, let's see what your key to victory is. Brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Get home ice advantage on every drive with the new Civic Hybrid, proudly made in Ontario. Available now at your Ontario Honda dealers.
I mean, this is a big-time letdown spot, potentially, given where it's at on the calendar, given the opponent. But it can be, and you can survive it. I mean, you just got 4 in the first period against Carolina last night, so a hot start, some early game goal scoring could probably carry you through and make it not a consequential letdown spot, but one where you don't play your best but still come away with 2 points. So I think the start is key tonight for Toronto.
Yeah, I'm anticipating that you're going to have Joseph Wall getting his first. Joseph Wall's a net. He hasn't, been in a game in a little while. Maybe a little bit of warming up period as well.
And he didn't get the first one back, which is
I was
interesting.
Surprised?
I didn't put much thought into it.
Whatever. It's a back-to-back.
Let's get to the player to watch, presented by Bet365. I can't wait, actually, because there's a lot of revenge opportunities here.
Yes, there are.
Presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca. Who are we leaning towards
I've got 2 Leafs for you, but there are many, 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 many revenge angles. I'm going to go with Alex Steeves. I'm romanticizing a little bit of this run, this opportunity that he has. Last night, he gets his first goal. Great call by Cece. Just an opportunity to kind of put together a string of performances. He's leading the AHL in goals. He's probably feeling great about himself, got the monkey off his back. And he's plus 600 tonight to score. I just think, against a team that's not really good with the Blackhawks, anticipate him maybe getting more ice time than a Carolina Hurricanes game. He's maybe playing for a spot. Window of opportunity to maybe prove himself a bit. So Steve's plus 600 to score tonight. I'm also going to share Marner, plus 175. His wife shared publicly today that they're expecting a baby.
Okay.
It's all over the internet. I'm not breaking any news.
It's worked for John Tavares.
And you know what? I think
father bump.
It looked like today was their baby shower or her baby shower back at home. So maybe there's something excited for Marner to just play for the new baby on the way.
Wow. Mitch must have had a lot on his mind while he was in Montreal and Boston.
So Marner plus 175 for a baby bump. And then you mentioned here that there's lots of revenge spots on both sides. Foligno, Bertuzzi, Brody, Mikheyev, Mrazek.
Yeah, I mean, Brody seems like the last anytime goal scorer I'd ever want to play.
But you know what?
In this spot. But don't be surprised tonight if Foligno, Bertuzzi, maybe even Ilya Mikheyev get on the board.
All right, we shall see. We will take a quick break, and you'll hear the lovely voices of Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph. We'll have Puck Drop on the other side. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Experience the best that MLS has to offer on Sirius XM FC from the stars of South Beach.
Scoops for Suarez, squares for Messi, goal of the season.
To the defending champions in LA.
The Black hit that, got it to him a second.
You can hear all the top matches all season long.
Just can't get enough.
It's your league on your station. It's MLS on Sirius XM FC, channel 157 in the car, and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gord, and they must say, okay, if we make a coaching change here, chances are that at least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling an expletive, right? About, whatever, how that particular trend is going. So you're right. So far, it's like perfect.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stiller. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
Playing in the Four Nations face-off for Team USA, Connor Hellebuck.
How do you feel about getting a chance to play for USA?
The type of hockey it's going to be fun. There's going to be some high-pressure games. You're going to be putting your country's jersey on. You're representing your country. I think we're going to have a great fan base around us, and I'm really looking forward to what it brings.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Devils head coach Sheldon Keefe, you decided to jump right back into it.
New Jersey Devils reached out really within an hour or so of the news coming out of me being let go. And the more I got to know Tom and his vision for the team and seeing the situation, it was a tremendous opportunity that I couldn't let pass by.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Feel the excitement of the UEFA Champions League knockout stage on Sirius XM FC. Europe's best clubs.
What a start for Inter! And Barca are level! Brilliant Arsenal goal!
The world's brightest stars.
Mbappe! Kane! Salah to score!
All chasing club soccer's ultimate prize.
A new page in their glorious Yes, history.
The Champions League knockout stage, where legends are made. On Sirius XM FC, channel 157 in the car, and the Sirius XM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Four Nations Team Canada face-off associate GM Jim Nill. You as a manager view goaltending going into the tournament in February.
Yeah, we're talking about two of the guys that won Stanley Cups and play in those type of pressure games. That's a pretty good resume to have. So we're pretty confident with it and pretty confident with the team that we're going to have playing in front of them.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Avalanche General Manager Chris McFarland. What went in to maybe change that duo in goal?
With the work of our scout, Wedgwood's experience, he was a veteran guy, he's been through the grind. We were very bullish on McKenzie, and when the opportunity came to add him, we just felt it was the right move for us, long term.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The world's most thrilling league is now in the palm of your hand. Hear every English Premier League match all season long on the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favourite team. The Leafs Radio Network.
Made their way to the United Center in Chicago as they start another road trip as they come off a big win to kick off the final rush of the season after the Four Nations tournament as they beat the Carolina Hurricanes in a very important game for the Maple Leafs, winning by a score of 6-3. They find themselves a point back of Florida with 2 games in hand, one of which is being made up tonight.
Yeah, and another important game. You've got Tampa at home to the Seattle Kraken. And isn't it funny how we thought, a month or 6 weeks ago that Tampa was sort of trading places with Ottawa to see who might be a wild card and who might get number 3? Well, Tampa Bay Lightning are hanging around as well. But you're right. Big opportunity to take over sole possession of first.
The Bushman of the Braided Bungalows brought to you by Molson. Molson, everyone in. Joseph Wall, 0-1-0 against the Blackhawks, is 19-11-0 this season with a 2.65 goals against average. And Arvel Soderblom is getting the call for the Blackhawks. He is 7-12-5 and a 3.01 goals against average. But he's 2-1-0 against the Leafs, who defend the goal to our left. And the Blackhawks to the right. And the puck is controlled on the near boards by the Hawks and chipped into the Toronto zone. Wall out of the cage to play it around the boards. Trapped there and pushed to the line, but now grabbed off, and a wrist shot is sent wide of the Toronto goal. Puck in the near corner. Oliver Ekman-Larsson battles for it. It bounced high in the air. Marner gets it free, and out come the Leafs at center. Nyes trying to roll it in past a couple of defenders. It got to the net. Soderblom clearing it away, and the Hawks bring it out into the center ice area. Backhanded in over the line by Connor Bedard, who heads to the bench for a change of players. Nylander wheeling out of his own zone for Toronto. Hits the blue line and in on the left wing side, and a wrist shot is high over top of the net on the left wing side from Tavares. Round the boards to the right wing boards. Nick Foligno reverses the puck back of the net. And the Blackhawks will start out with a long lead pass for Foligno. He chips it down into the corner for Ilya Mikheyev. Round on the boards for Teravainen. Teravainen back at the net, trying to get back in front as Mikheyev. He's too well covered. In fact, knocked down on the play. Back on his skates, he has it up against the wall, and Foligno comes out of the scrum with a shot. And the first save of the game made by the Leaf goaltender, and Joseph Wall will hold for a face-off in the Toronto zone.
The Oregon. You hear that? Isn't that great?
You know what? It sounds like an organ.
Yeah.
That's the best part. You know what? I told you what I did today.
Yes.
I YouTubed the final game at the old Chicago Stadium across the street on Madison, the Madhouse on Madison, and I was there. In fact, I brought my 12-year-old Liam and my 10-year-old Derek to the game because I wanted them to experience the anthem. And unfortunately, we cover the anthems on our radio broadcast and don't play them. This is the one building where the opening is worth the price of admission. Never mind the rest of the hockey game.
Yeah, get there early, though.
Yeah, get there early. You're right. Hawks bring it in on the right wing side. Trying to make a spinning move with it was Nazar, and it rolls in on goal and is stopped. So I want to tell the story about the last game. And this is 1994. The stadium is closing. They're moving across the street to the United Center. The stadium is huge. One of the largest in the National Hockey League. The footprint of the old stadium would take 4 of them to get inside the United Center. That's how big the United Center is. But there was no private boxes. There were just seats. There were no special seats. There was nothing. There was no high-end sit there and we bring drinks to you and everything. Everybody showed up. You got in and away you went. Shot from the point. Good blocker save made there by Wall. And it's pushed up on the wing but not out. Blackhawks keep it in. They get it off under the right wing side. Brody trying to get a shot away. It comes right out in front. Wall, I'm not sure why he let it come that far, but it turned out to be a pretty good move. Leafs were able to get it out of their zone. Played along the boards and now back of the net. Blackhawks back after it. Nolan Allen plays it up the boards. Cut off at the blue line. Leafs trying to keep it in. A bouncing puck into the slot. And it is Donato getting it out at center and playing it in over the Toronto line. Grabbed off by the Hawks, and now Bedard with a nice play to recover the puck, but then had it pickpocketed from him by Lorenz, and Lorenz is going to play it back into the Toronto end. Played along the boards. I'm going to reminisce a little more about the old Chicago Stadium because you played in that building, which is just an absolute treat. Up on the right side, fired in then by the Maple Leafs. Tanev, who is heading to the bench, and the Leafs regroup the puck in the center ice area with Marner. Marner up on the left wing. Drop pass by Nyes. Long shot was well wide of the goal. Matthews controls the rebound. And as he tried to center it, it was about a foot off the ice. And as good as Marner's eye-hand coordination is, he didn't make very good contact with it. He did get a piece, but it didn't get to the net. Now Nyes gets in over the line. Made a stumbling move and lost the puck, but then regained along the boards by Tavares. But the Hawks take it away, and it is Teravainen getting it out into the neutral ice and backhanded in over the Toronto blue line. Tavares is back there, shielding it, drops it off for Benoit to his defense partner Timmins, and he comes up the right wing boards to get it out into the center ice area. Tavares, left wing pass, trying to drive his Pontus Holmberg, a shot that bounces just wide of the goal. What a chance in front of the net for the Maple Leafs Nylander. Hawks back in with a long shot. Pad save made by Wall. Foligno getting it back to the point. D to D. Martinez to the right wing side. Oliver Ekman-Larsson couldn't steal it back. Comes to the left wing side for Martinez. Again a shot deflected wide by Wall. 5 shots on goal for Chicago. The Leafs have yet to have one register. Leafs will play it out at center ice, and they'll get a change of players started as Seth Jones organizes back in Chicago territory.
What a great play, though. Willie Nylander in a cross-crease pass. Put it up and over the left pad of the goaltender, Soderblom, but off the post. And then it almost ricocheted in again, but still not an official shot for the Leafs, but the best scoring chance of the game.
Hawks 1-3-2 in their last 6. As the Leafs kick it out on the wing, and a shot deflects just wide of the Leaf goal on a turnover. Another shot blocked in front by Tanev. This is a recording. He does it all the game long. Back to the point once more. Chicago into the slot area. Trying to spin it in was Nazar, but that was blocked. Puck on the near side. Tanev quickly gets it ahead. Leafs are going to chip it along the boards, but not far enough to find Nick Robertson. Robertson against the boards. Bobby McMahon got it up ahead. Timmins gains the zone, left wing side, but he's on a Lone Ranger rush there. Realizing it now, tries to backhand it behind the net, and the rest of the change is coming for Toronto. Kind of a tough thing. You make a nice move to get across the line, look over your shoulder for where everybody is, and they're at the bench. What do I do now?
You only have to deke 4 more guys.
That's right. Timmins, a lengthy pass out at center, turned over. Blackhawks bring it right back in again. Driving the net is Reichel, and that was stopped, and now it's the Leafs trying to break it out on the left wing, and they get it out at center. Blackhawks take it back. Vlasic in on the left wing. Alex Vlasic heading it back into the point area. Kept alive by Chicago. They've been the better team. They played last night as well. Puck back to the point once more. Near side for Vlasic to his defense partner. Murphy trying to get some skating room, and a shot was deflected wide. Benoit unable to clear it up the boards. Now here's Steves trying to get to his man, and he took him down with a bit of a knee on knee kind of a collision, but no penalty. At least I don't see an arm up from any of the officials. Brought back by Chicago, trying to work in over the line. There was Bedard, and he had it taken away. Now Marner working back in over the line for Toronto. Marner to the right wing boards, tied to center, and it hit a skate. And the Blackhawks will play it up on the near wing. Nyes got it back to the point. Ekman Larsson waited, then let the shot go, and the first shot on goal for Toronto is caught by Arvid Soderblom, and a face-off coming in the Chicago zone. There is no score. First period. Leafs and Hawks at the United Center. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
I'm Alex Cooper from Call Her Daddy. I have 2 brand new exclusive channels right here on SiriusXM. First, there's Unwell Music. Fun, feel-good music for the girls. Unwell on Air, the best of Unwell and brand new live daily shows with weekly pop-ins from yours truly. Unwell Music on Channel 3 and Unwell on Air on the SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gore, and they must say, okay, if we make a coaching change here, chances are that at least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling.
Go Leafs, go! Go Leafs, go! Go Leafs, go! Make sure to hit the like button and so you don't miss out on our content.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm just telling the chat to like the video.
You're telling everybody in the chat to hit the like button?
Yeah.
Nice job. Can you guys please hit the like button? This kid's awesome. Go Leafs, go! We'll see you back in the chat.
NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM.
The Leafs Radio Network.
Just continuing our thoughts about the old stadium, one of the things that I remember most vividly was that press box where we were hanging down with tire iron, I guess it was. But when the anthem got going and they started roaring, that thing was like a tuning fork. And you kept looking at the top to make sure the bolts were coming out of it because you were going down with the ship.
I was lucky when I was up there. They let me sit in the organ box.
The organ box.
That's where the extra guys would sit.
Yeah. Well, you know, in that last game, regular season game, Wayne Mesmer, who was the soloist, had been shot in the neck in a robbery attempt just a couple of days prior to it. And he was the key part of that roar when everybody started cheering. We get an icing call.
He was an outstanding anthem singer.
Oh, he was. And his wife was there. And she stood by organist Frank Pellico. And tears, and I mean, everybody had tears in their eyes because of this situation. And it was just so memorable and so powerful. It really was a most amazing night.
But what you're talking about was the last regular season game. They celebrated it. And it was against the Leafs, and it was a 1-0 game, was it not?
6-4. I looked that up.
6-4 was the last game?
But
the last playoff game.
Yes.
The last game ever. For the Hawks was in the playoffs against the Leafs.
And what was unique about that game? The horn never went off.
Right?
Leafs won 2-0. And Bill Wirtz's horn off his yacht, boat, ship, whatever it was the first horn, goal horn in the National Hockey League. Cleared into the Chicago zone. Hawks start to bring it out with 12:45 left. Up on the left wing for Vlasic. He'll get it down into the Toronto zone. Played in around the boards and back of the net. And the Leafs, no. Let me explain myself. Nylander was going to go around back of his own net and then lost the puck and it rolled to the side of the goal. And Wall had to make sure he was paying attention.
Connor Timmins gave it to Nylander, who was essentially skating towards him, back behind the net. And I think Nylander was more afraid of the collision with Timmins. And that's why when he tried to do that last zigzag in front of Joseph Wall on the short side, he lost control of it.
Oopsies. Benoit off a face-off win, gets it out at center. In on the left wing now for Robertson. A drop pass looking in front for Domi. And he couldn't get contact with it. Max Domi 0 for 23 in the goal-scoring department as Wall plays the puck around back of the net for Benoit to his defense partner. And the Leafs will get it up on the wing and off the glass and out at center ice. Blackhawks sent it right back into the Toronto zone. Timmins backpedals, goes D to D. Hawks are pressuring as it comes around the boards. And now McMahon is able to get it out and down the ice. No icing. And we'll go back down into Chicago territory. No score. First period. 11:50 to go in the frame. Martinez got it up on the right wing. Bertuzzi got it in over the line. And the Leafs are there to play it back out into the center ice area. Now it's too far, and it's going to be an icing call against the against the Maple Leafs to be brought back into the Leaf zone.
Yep, December 20th against the Buffalo Sabres, the last game that Max Domi scored. And that was at the end of a streak where he'd scored 3 goals in 3 games, had 2 assists in that 3-game stretch. That's where McMahon, Domi, and Nick Robertson exploded. There was a game in Dallas, the game in Buffalo, and I think the game before that is when it all started, was a home game. But all of a sudden they found a little bit of magic. We've seen it with Bobby McMahon since. It's been a struggle sometimes for Nick Robertson putting up the points.
Face-off wasn't done correctly. They'll do it over.
Max Domi, 9 assists in the 23-game stretch, and that included some time up in the top 6.
Draw scrum to puck along the near boards, played back to the point. D to D it goes for the wrist shot that is well wide of the net. Trying to get it in front of the goal was Slaggert, but the Leafs get it back to the blue line, but not out. Now intercept a pass, and the Leafs are able to bring it out at center ice. Matthews in on the right side. Chips it into the corner. Oliver Ekman-Larsson into the rush. The puck comes up on the wing, and the Hawks get it out at center. A pass off the skate. Donato trying to center. Bounce. Puck cleared into the corner there by Marner. Leafs will get it to the line, but Nyes has difficulty getting it out. It's wedged up against the boards. Patrick Maroon now stepping on it. What a Maroon. Well, he couldn't. Why wouldn't he just kick? Played out at center ice, and now the Hawks, Allen, will shoot it right back in again. Marner wrapping it off the glass high all the way down into Chicago territory. And a puck almost stolen there by Lorenz, who centers in front of the net, and Camp couldn't get a stick on it. That was kind of a strange play. Marner launched it high, took about 4 bounces, and the Hawk defenders never did get their stick on it.
The difficult thing for a defenseman, you're backing up. You know, when it's not like you're set and it's coming to you, you got to try to back up and make sure that it doesn't get past you. You don't get caught flat-footed. So when it short hops, that's when you got all kinds of trouble. And the Leafs were almost able to take advantage, and that was David Kampf almost saying getting another one in back-to-back games.
Played out at center ice. 6-1 are the shots favoring Chicago. Still no score. Nylander in his own zone. Works through center to the line. Got in over the line, but was held up sufficiently by the defenseman Seth Jones to not get a shot at the net. Comes around the boards to the point. Tanev keeping it in. Nylander unable to trap it on the near boards, and Foligno will get it out too far, and Jake McCabe takes over for Toronto. Tanev got it ahead. The pass comes up too far for Nylander. Blackhawks play it back into the Toronto end. Leafs nothing and the Blackhawks nothing. First period. Both teams played last night. So there is no advantage as far as the back-to-backs are concerned. Played along the boards. Leafs unable to get to it. Blackhawks come away with it. They'll come to center ice. Fed in there by Vlasic into the far corner. Hustling back was David Camp, and he makes a good play to start wheeling out of his own end with a pass up on the right side. Lorenz gets it deep and goes after it. Vlasic one-handed it back of the goal. His defense partner, Connor, got it ahead and in across the line. Kurashev couldn't get it in front of the Toronto net. Gets it again. Back to the point it comes. D to D for Allen. Long shot off a skate. And it went well wide, and the Leafs will get it out off a skate down into Chicago territory. Both teams getting a change in with 8:56 to go in a scoreless first. Allen coming out. Left wing feed for Lucas Reichel. Reichel in for a shot from a sharp angle. That went wide, and it caroms all the way down the ice. A foot race forward here that Bobby McMahon won, but didn't get it out in front far enough for Max Domi to be a factor in the rush. Leafs will bring it right back in again over the line for Robertson. Robertson out-muscled for the puck. Played out at center, stolen back by Toronto, and across the line for Domi. Domi in the near corner, found a man out in front, couldn't get a shot away. Bobby McMahon. Now McMahon loses it, but is stolen back by Robertson. Back to the point, Ekman Larsson with a shot coming. That is off his shin pad and caroms all the way to center ice. McMahon in on the wing for Robertson. Robertson D to D in front of the net for Domi! And he rifled it into the crest of Arvid Soderblom. And it is held by the Chicago goaltender for a face-off in the Chicago end. No score, Hawks and Leafs. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Over to our sideline report the app and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
The Subaru winter has arrived. The crisp air and negative temperatures mean one thing: camping. Emerge from your icy tent and bask in 4 to 6 hours of sunlight. Enjoy the unmistakable smell of campfire through the glacial wind pummeling your face. Relax by the water, taking in the soothing sounds of thick ice cracking and popping. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need, when you need it, 24/7, 365, every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Cross the line with a pass, and they score!
On Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Just to complete the history lesson, because I am the history professor this evening, the Maple Leafs closed out the last regular season game at Chicago Stadium with a 6-4 victory, then won in the playoff and ended the season and everything 2-0 in the playoffs. But then the Blackhawks came to close out Maple Leaf Gardens. And they turned the tables on the Leafs that night, right?
6-2.
Yes. Bob Probert scoring the final NHL goal at Maple Leaf Gardens. Doug Gilmour, I think, had the winner, did he not?
Yeah, there's a neat trivia question that
I love this.
Every franchise had a final game at Maple Leaf Gardens. One player had the game-winning goal for two different franchises in their last visit to Maple Leaf Gardens. Doug Gilmour also did it in the New Jersey Devils' last game,
which was
the year before,
because they only came.
Yeah, they didn't play in the 98-99 season.
Yeah.
But yeah, you and I would have worked that final game together.
Yeah. Here the Leafs winning the face-off, tried to get it in front for Tavares, but it was knocked off his stick, and the Blackhawks have it under control in their own zone. There'll be a test on all of this at the end of the night for everyone listening. Wall gets it into the corner. Leafs get it up on the near wing. And Ekman Larsson will shoot it into the Chicago zone. Played around the boards. Tip out and down the ice. And Riley is going to have to hustle back. He's being chased hard there by Mikheyev, who knocked him down, and then Mikheyev got flattened over on the far side as payback, and neither official decided to make a call. Morgan McPhee and Eric Furlock are the referees as a point shot coming from Timmins is kicked away, and the rebound all the way out at center ice. Timmins sends it right back into Chicago territory. Along the boards trying to pin it there. Leafs dug it free, but Steve's getting it in front of the net. Timmins works back towards the blue line. Timmins still with it, sends it towards the net. Steve's with it in front of the goal and couldn't get a shot after being sent in there by Lorenz. Blackhawks back in. Bedard! No, it's not Bedard. It's Nazar trying to drive the net. 91, not 98. Back to the point it comes. Here's Allen trying to get a shot away, and that was off a stick and wide, and the Leafs play it off the glass down into Chicago territory. Blackhawks wearing kind of a third jersey without the Blackhawk crest on it. A little different. Out at center ice. McMahon nicely kicked ahead for Robertson to the line and in. Robertson hustles into the corner. Took a sharp angle shot that really had not much chance to score. Then took another off the shoulder of Soderblom. Another shot rolls wide of Soderblom. Kept in by Tanev. Back of the net for McMahon. Onto the corner boards. Trying to get it in front of the net, and a shot by Robertson was blocked before it got there, but he was in pretty good position. Hawks will get it out at center ice. Played in on the right wing now by Reichel. Long shot, pad save by Wall, cleared into the corner. Blackhawks are 17-32-7 for 41 points as we get an offside with Bedard trying to stick handle his way into the zone. First period brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. At Bet365, must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit ConnexOntario.com. We got a break? Oh. All right. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Baseball season's almost here, and MLB Network Radio will get you ready for opening day with a tour of spring training. Hear team previews of all 30 teams as our experts talk with players, managers, and executives shaping the 2025 season. How does your team look? Our team will break it all down. MLB Network Radio's tour of spring training going on now on SiriusXM Channel 89 and the SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gore, and they must say, okay, if we make a coaching change here, chances are that at least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling an expletive, right? About, whatever, how that particular trend is going. So you're right. So far, it's like perfect.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Feel the excitement of the UEFA Champions League knockout stage on SiriusXM FC. Europe's best clubs.
What a start for Inter! And Barca are level! Brilliant Arsenal goal!
The world's brightest stars.
Mbappe! Kane! Salah to score!
All chasing club soccer's ultimate prize.
A new page in their glorious history!
The Champions League knockout stage, where legends are made. On SiriusXM FC, channel 157 in the car, and the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Radio Network.
Sticking with our history lesson for the first period, Frank Pellico, who was the organist back at the stadium. 6 rows of keys on that old organ. 6 rows of them. You and I couldn't think about playing one of them. They'd have to have the numbers on it. Hey?
I took piano lessons.
Oh, you couldn't play an organ if your life depended on it.
I was going to say something to you, but
Anyway, I believe this is his final season or final game. They just did a nice tribute to him.
33 years in it, yep. Then, huh?
Puck down in the Toronto zone. Lead pass gets out at center. The Leafs get it to the line. Riley in across the line. A pass back into the slot. Riley going to the net. Nyes couldn't get him the puck. Matthews keeping it in at the blue line to Riley against the far boards. Down low to Nyes. He works around back of the net. Looks for Marner. Marner never got the pass. The pass wasn't hard enough. And the Blackhawks get it out into the center ice area. Oliver Ekman-Larsson getting it around back of the net. Nyes will play it deeper. Leafs are getting a change in with 4:12 to go in a scoreless first period. Nylander sides by 2, gets through center ice, hits the blue line, left wing pass. Trapped nicely by the skate of Tavares, and a shot by Timmins was blocked before it got to the net. Kept alive by Pontus Holmberg. Fed around the boards to the right wing side for Timmins. Timmins carries down low, back of the net. Pass in front of the net by Tavares. And I don't know if he just didn't see anybody there, but there was no one there to pass the puck to. Tavares back in his own zone. Works it up on the right wing for Nylander, who gains the zone and shoots it in around the wall to the far side. Blackhawks get there first, and they'll carry it out. 3:27 to go in the first period. Near boards for Kurashev. He plays it in, and it's caught by Wall. 8 shots on goal for Chicago, 3 for the Maple Leafs.
Feels like the Leafs have had the better chances, right? Even though they only 3 shots on goal. Best opportunity was the one that Willie Nylander early on in the game put the cross-crease pass off the goal post and out the other way. Chicago, you talked about the struggles for the Blackhawks. I mean, it did cost Luke Richardson his job. But since December 21st, 5 wins in 23 games. 5-13-5 in a 23-game stretch.
Yep. Anders Sorensen replacing Luke Richardson. Pass knocked down by Lorenz, but the Blackhawks will tip it out at center. Carry to the line and in right wing side. Murphy trying to get it into the corner. Couldn't get it in front. The Leafs are able to push it up the boards, and it'll be launched high into Chicago territory to allow a change of players. Martinez got it ahead and has to get it returned. Now the Hawks are getting their change in. Vlasic up on the right side and into the zone. Trying to drive to the net was Reichel, but the Leafs turn it back, and now Domi hustling in on the right side. Stops it up at the top of the near circle. Dropping it off for Ekman Larsson, and a shot that went off a leg and went wide of the Chicago goal. Hawks will get it out at center. Brought in over the line by Vlasic. Played down into the corner. Reichel goes into the forecheck, but the Leafs come out with it with a lead pass. And Domi, with skating room, gets to the line just onside. Right wing side, and a shot taken by Robertson. Swallowed up by Arvid Soderblom. And he will stop play to bring a face-off in the Chicago zone.
The Toronto Maple Leafs do not have a first-round pick in the 2025 draft, and that is because that's what they gave up to get Jake McCabe. Hawks are still paying half of McCabe's salary until his due contract kicks in next year. But when you look at what the Leafs may want to add by the trade deadline, that's sort of the downside. Everybody, you've got a key piece. Always seems to be a first rounder is the asking price, isn't it?
Rolling pucks scooped up by Soderblom. Another face-off coming in the Chicago end.
You do feel for Connor Bedard, though, don't you? I mean, there's, you look when you had Matthews coming up, but Marner was coming with him.
Nylander was here.
Was coming. And, you still had the likes of Van Riemsdyk and Tyler Bozak at the time as well, and Morgan Riley. Edmonton had some pieces there, as McDavid got there.
No, they've had the first pick overall about 3 or 4 times.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yep. You had Eberle, you had Nugent Hopkins, you had Draisaitl.
Yep. There the Blackhawks in across the line. Drop pass then from Reichel. Comes back to the blue line. Bedard circles, gets it back to the point. Shot coming in traffic. Knocked down. Puck in front of the goal. And a whistle. And I think a penalty coming. And is Tanev getting it for what he was doing in front of the net to one of the Blackhawks?
Yeah, I think it was Slaggert that I think that he took down on the point shot. And cross-checking is going to be the call. 1:38 to go in the opening period, and the Blackhawks get a great opportunity to create a little bit of offense. Their special teams have been pretty good, Joe. 8th in the power play, 7th in penalty killing.
Yeah, he crumpled Slaggert in front of the net. Penalty kill brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Get home ice advantage on every drive with the new Civic Hybrid, proudly made in Ontario. Available now at your Ontario Honda dealers. Leafs control the face-off, and Marner will send it out and down the ice. Minute 30 to go in the period. Hawks back in their own zone. Jones bringing it out. He's going to drop it back. Brought by Teravainen to center, across the line for Bedard, who takes it wide into the corner. Stood up and knocked down there by Benoit. The puck rolls to the line, but not out. Back into the corner for Bedard. Bedard stops up to the far half board, spins it back to the blue line. Jones is with it now. Back along for Bedard, looking in front of the net. Still with it. Bertuzzi trying to make some room for himself out there. Comes back to the left point. Here's a chance for Teravainen. He'll go down into the corner. Swings it back to Jones at the blue line. Wrist shot coming. Blocked there by the Maple Leafs. Easily cleared off the boards and down the ice. And 47 seconds left remain in the first period. Hawks looking to open the scoring in the game. Jones rattles it around the boards and in. Bertuzzi played it back to the blue line. Bedard bringing it down the left wing boards into the corner. Cycles it back along for Ryan Donato. Donato back to the blue line now for Teravainen. Teravainen to Donato. Back to Teravainen once more. Now to Bedard on the left wing boards. Bedard chased into the corner by Knies. Got it back to Teravainen. A centering pass. Good save made there. The rebound. Scores! Teravainen in front of the net. Good save made by Wall, but the Leafs were unable to clear. And with 10.5 seconds to go in the period, the Blackhawks open the scoring.
And Tyler Bertuzzi, Joe, is the one. He gets knocked down in front of the net after the shot, but as he's falling, he swipes the puck from Wall's left to right onto Teravainen. In fact, I think the original shot, Joe, hit Bertuzzi. He ends up going down, and then he sweeps it. He just kind of chopped at it, got it away from 3 Leafs and onto the stick of Teravainen.
Was that a high stick?
No, it hit him around the hip, I think.
Really? Okay. One of the angles there, it looked like his stick was up above his shoulders when he made contact with it. But
well, Chicago's power play, they were 4 for 9 in the last 4 games coming in. And it's a power play goal, opens the scoring now, although we got a delay here.
Well, we got a shot of the Chicago bench. Now we get the face-off control. Just 10 seconds left in the period. And a rolling puck will go in on Chicago's goaltender, played into the corner. And the final seconds will tick down as it's a delayed offside. So a late power play goal by Teravainen. And the Maple Leafs find themselves trailing in the hockey game 1-0. The 13th goal of the season for Teravainen, and his 6th by way of the power play.
And a 12th power play goal the Leafs have given up now in their last 13 games. A bit of an area of concern for the Leafs as they head into the final part of the season here.
So we will step aside and welcome back Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert. A 1-0 Chicago lead at the end of one period of play. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan on the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Everybody that be living it up, we said.
Yo, what's up? It's Sirius XM Fly. I can't come to the phone right now because I'm over on channel 50 playing those 90s.
What's my name? Let's flip the track from the old school back.
And 2000s hip-hop and R&B throwbacks. Commercial free 24/7. Pull up channel 50 and at home with Sirius XM on your phone, computer, Alexa, TV, or other internet-connected devices. Holla.
NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gord, and they must say, okay, if we make a coaching change here, chances are that at least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling an expletive, right? About, whatever, how that particular trend is going. So you're right. So far, it's like perfect.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
Playing in the Four Nations face-off for Team USA. Connor Hellebuck.
How do you feel about getting a chance to play for USA?
The type of hockey it's going to be fun. There's going to be some high-pressure games. You're going to be putting your country's jersey on. You're representing your country. I think we're going to have a great fan base around us, and I'm really looking forward to what it brings.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
Feel the excitement of the UEFA Champions League knockout stage on Sirius XM FC. Europe's best clubs.
What a start for Renta! And Barca are level! Brilliant Arsenal goal!
The world's brightest stars.
Mbappe! Kane! Salah to score!
All chasing club soccer's ultimate prize.
A new page in their glorious history!
The Champions League knockout stage, where legends are made. On Sirius XM FC, channel 157 in the car, and the Sirius XM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Four Nations Team Canada face-off associate GM Jim Nill. You as a manager view goaltending going into the tournament in February.
We're talking about two of the guys that won Stanley Cups and play in those type of pressure games. That's a pretty good resume to have. So we're pretty confident with it and pretty confident with the team that we're going to have playing in front of them.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Avalanche General Manager Chris McFarland. What went in to maybe change that duo in goal?
With the work of our scout, Wedgwood's experience, he was a veteran guy, he's been through the grind. We were very bullish on McKenzie, and when the opportunity came to add him, we just felt it was the right move for us, long term.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Devils head coach Sheldon Keefe, you decided to jump right back into it.
New Jersey Devils reached out really within an hour or so of the news coming out of me being let go. And the more I got to know Tom and his vision for the team and seeing the situation, it was a tremendous opportunity that I couldn't let pass by.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert. It's a 1-0 lead for the Chicago Blackhawks after 20 minutes of play after a power play goal. About 10 seconds remaining in the first, which was probably the most exciting moment of the entire period. I was
yeah, I think I guess it probably was. I mean, it was kind of a hilarious goal, a very Tyler Bertuzzi goal, and that he got absolutely not beamed. I guess beamed is implying that it hits you.
It's a good word for it.
Okay, we'll use that. Hit with a slap shot on the power play by the power play quarterback, and he was able to, I guess, corral the rebound and throw it aside to Teuvo Teravainen, who got his 500th point in the NHL on the play, which is pretty cool. But a very Tyler Bertuzzi offensive moment there, taking one, I guess, to make a play. Chicago up 1-0 after a pretty forgettable first period for the Maple Leafs.
Big time. Man, that was, what are we going to talk about? Leafs with only 5 shots on goal, Chicago with 11. It just was not a lot of pop for the Leafs. And this, understandably, I mean, it's back-to-back. You played last night at home against Carolina, who's a team that, they fought back. And they're a hard team to start your return to action against. And then you go on the road to play the second worst team in the NHL. And it's a sleepy vibe. I saw that there's been 13 straight games without a regulation win for the Leafs in Chicago, including 10 losses. I don't know what that is all about. Playing down to your opponent. This is classic trap game for the Leafs, as we talked about in our pregame show. And I hoped maybe for a little bit more pep to start the period, start the game, but then not so much.
No, I mean, I was going to ask you, are you surprised that both Matthews and Marner played in these 2 games? And before I let you answer that question, is Austin Matthews playing in this game? He's got the Tony Snell line right now. I'm looking at his natural stat trick profile. It is usually you have a 0.02 expected goals individually if you just breathed in the offensive zone at one point, and he's got zeros all the way across the board in 4 minutes and 49 seconds of ice. It is rare to see zeros across the board like that. That means he barely did a single thing that would be even considered offensive minded in the period. So I was a little surprised, not just Mitch and Austin playing both games, that everyone seems to be playing. Connor McDavid played both games this weekend, and the Oilers got absolutely shellacked in both games. And it just seems like no one's actually doing the rest thing, except guys who are actually injured. I was a little surprised, and maybe it had to be, this way. Maybe there was a a certain handshake agreement where like, no, you don't get to rest after this, because it seems like that's the precedent. But like this would be a spot to just be like, okay, Matthews and Marner, we don't have to deal with it tonight.
Yeah, I was curious about how it was going to go. And, Elliot on Thursday night after the broadcast and Friday on 32 Thoughts and Friday on the Fan Hockey Show, 3 times I listened to him in the last couple days before the games came back, he said that he kind of anticipated at least NHL teams allowing for some rest, like not pushing the guys back on the ice. So I'm taking this as a personal choice. You played 4 games if you made it to the final, 3 if you didn't. And that's not what I think the biggest strain was. It's a quick turnaround. Some guys had 36 hours from the end of the championship game to being on the ice for an NHL game. But
and potentially 36 beers between those 36 hours.
And definitely some beers. So I can definitely imagine that you'd be just exhausted from the travel, but the come down from playing the most intense, best on best, winner take all, almost every single game. I thought that there would be some people that took a night off, but maybe it was just looking around and, if you're not taking any time off, I'm not taking any time off, because, if Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby are on the ice in those early Saturday games.
Crosby did score a beautiful goal.
And
it feels like unregistered.
He had every reason to take time off because he was already, I'm using air quotes, hurt coming into this. We knew it.
Yeah.
And then he played in the very first or second game at like 1 p.m. start yesterday. Like he really
I was surprised
wasn't
to see
waiting.
that. This is time off without being off, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And
like
again,
what we're seeing tonight, definitely.
Again, Matthews and Marner, registered at least last night, not registering at all in that first period. And I kind of don't blame them. Like, obviously, you'd like to see it, but we talked about it in the lead up to the game. This is Chicago on a traveling back-to-back after the energy and emotional dump that was this past week and Thursday night. Like, I don't expect them to have their A games tonight. Yeah. And clearly, I think we're even fighting for a D or E game.
Still 40 minutes, and Leafs are trailing 1-0 to Chicago Blackhawks. So plenty of time to put one in because this is the second worst team in the NHL. We'll take a quick break. We will do the out-of-town scoreboard. There's an awesome game happening in LA for LA Strong, so helping raise money for the those affected by the fires in LA. And
we got Bieber on the ice.
Bieber just fought Jeremy Roenick.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look at that
There's a lot of things going on in this game and a lot of superstars on the ice in LA raising money. So we will see if we can give you some sort of out-of-town scoreboard for that, who won the fight, and the other NHL action around the league. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, the Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Hey everyone, Adney and Burke here to talk about our great podcast, NHL Unscripted with Burke and Demers.
Jason Demers here. After playing 700 NHL games, it turns out I have an opinion or two. Whoever's saying trade one of them, you don't know anything about hockey. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm rooting for this team. With new guests every week, we will talk about hockey and more.
Can't wait till you watch this movie because it's the biggest award of her career.
He went into the cheetah exhibit. The cheetah took a piece out of him, and he came into the ring the next day.
Tune in to NHL Unscripted with Burke and Demers, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
The all-electric Honda Prologue SUV is here at your local Ontario Honda dealer. And with features perfect for the city and the backcountry, like all-wheel drive for tougher winter roads and a range up to 450 kilometers on a full charge, you may think Honda made an electric SUV just for Ontario. Get up to a $12,000 Honda bonus on all remaining 2024 Prologue models. Plus, qualified Honda owners get an additional $2,000 loyalty bonus. OAC conditions apply. Range based on combined city and highway. Bonus available when you lease or finance through HFS at a standard rate. See HondaOntario.com.
Breaking news coming in from Dix 5. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Ah, at last, the Subaru winter is here. It's the perfect weather for the beach. Feel the sun's rays on the small amount of skin peeking out of your ski mask. Put on your beach puffer and hear the sound of the waves crashing over the chatter of your teeth. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish, Forfar, Justin Cuthbert, 1-0 lead for the Blackhawks after 20 minutes, thanks to a last-second power play goal. About 10 seconds left of that period.
Yeah.
Something to report.
Yeah, something to report. We've been talking about how, I don't know, maybe not everyone's pulse is raised tonight. There were two, questionable non-calls, two quasi-dirty moments in the period that elicited zero response from either side.
Or the refs.
I thought or the refs. Good point. I thought Steve's landed a pretty bad knee-on-knee early on in the period, and then Mikheyev got caught up with Riley chasing a puck, forechecking, and gave him a little, shove in the lower back, and Riley crashed in the boards. Pontus Holmberg did land a hit on him afterwards, but that was the extent of the response. I thought both could have been called. I thought both could have been hey, this is line brawl city after both, but nothing happened for either of them. So I feel like everyone's just trying to get through this game.
Through it. Sunday
which
night.
Is, I don't know, maybe we're not all that different.
Okay, let's take a look at the NHL scoreboard presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca.
Well, there's someone relishing playing hockey right now, and that's Alexander Ovechkin. He scored his 880th, 881st, and 882nd goals tonight in a win, or this afternoon earlier, in a win for the Capitals, 7-3 over the Oilers. He is 13 away from passing Wayne Gretzky.
And he broke his leg this year.
Set your watch to that one. This guy is absolutely insane, and the Capitals are a wagon. They started this second half unofficially on a hot start with back-to-back wins. Rangers beat the Penguins 5-3 earlier today. Red Wings up 4-2 after 2 over the Anaheim Ducks. Devils up 3-0 over the Predators end of 2. Avalanche and Blues are end of 2, 3-1 Blues at the moment. Lightning have a 1-0 lead over the Kraken. And the Stars early on versus the Islanders are up 1-0 still to come tonight. Sharks and Flames. Canucks and Utah. It's a busy Sunday in the NHL.
And did we think that Marner, did we think that Bieber won the fight or Roenick?
Bieber and Roenick threw, I guess, hands to a certain extent, some fake punches. I don't think Roenick got one off, at least that's what I saw.
Win for Bieber.
I think you got to give it to Bieber, despite, Bieber not really giving it to Roenick.
Our friend Jackie Redmond was interviewing Justin Bieber on the bench, and she asked him about the Leafs, and he goes, I love those guys. Go Leafs. Love Mitchie. Love Austin. So he's going to channel that in the next shift of his charity game.
There you go.
And maybe the Leafs will.
The passion out there in LA. Crypto.com.
Maybe the Leafs will channel some Bieber-esque vibes. Do something out there. Fight.
We'll see.
Okay, 1-0 lead for the Chicago Blackhawks. So we'll take a quick break. Jim Ralph and Joe Bone will have the call of the second period next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The NFL's top draft prospects are ready to show their skills at the 2025 Scouting Combine.
The most dynamic player in college football, Travis Hunter.
And SiriusXM NFL Radio will have exclusive interviews with prospects, head coaches, and general managers as they prepare for the NFL Draft.
There is a surplus at certain positions this year where, hey, if we don't get one free agency, it's pretty deep in the draft.
Coverage kicks off Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern on SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 and the SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gord, and they must say, okay, if we make a coaching change here, chances are that at least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling an expletive, right? About, whatever, how that particular trend is going. So you're right. So far, it's perfect.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Feel the excitement of the UEFA Champions League knockout stage on SiriusXM FC. Europe's best clubs.
What a start for Inter! And Barca are level! Brilliant Arsenal goal!
The world's brightest stars.
Mbappe! Kane! Salah to score!
All chasing club soccer's ultimate prize.
A new page in their glorious history!
The Champions League knockout stage, where legends are made. On Sirius XM FC, channel 157 in the car, and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Ward Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for the Leafs game. Now that we've got your attention, Tom has something to say.
Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell for some notifications for all the streams that we have on TSI.
You know it. If it's a Toronto sports game, we're live. The Maple Leafs, the Raptors, the Argos, TFC, Blue Jays all summer long. Thank you so much for becoming an insider and hitting that subscribe button. Now let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go!
Absolutely. Played down into the Chicago zone. The Leafs have it back in their own end now. Tanev circling back at the net, being hounded. Passed it right through the blue paint. And the second most surprised person, other than Wall, was the Leafs defenseman, as Marner gets a shot and it goes wide of the Chicago goal. Zone starting out. Brought to center ice by Connor Bedard and shot down into the Toronto end. Puck along the boards, stolen back by the Maple Leafs. Morgan Riley gets the outlook pass and gets it up ahead, and out at center it comes, and Marner turns it back. And now Oliver Ekman-Larsson will have to send it even deeper to Marner, who's trying to get off the ice as Oliver Ekman-Larsson comes to center with a pass in on the right side. Tavares pushed it down into the corner, goes in there rampaging in against the end boards, but the Blackhawks, Jones getting it up on the wing, and a quick pass brings the Hawks through neutral ice. They lead 1-0 as a shot deflects to the side of the goal. Wall couldn't get a glove on it to stop play. Out Pontus Holmberg loses it back of the net. It goes around the boards to the near wing. Nylander late getting to it as it comes back to the point. Kept in by Slaggert. Back to the blue line. A shot by Martinez is deflected wide. Foligno playing it around the boards. He'll find Seth Jones at the near point. Pass to his defense partner on the left wing. A shot that was blocked by Wall with lots of traffic in front of the net. And they're still there. And the Blackhawks come away with it. Foligno into the left wing corner. Plays it around back of the net. Karavainen goes to the front of the goal as it comes to the point. Fed over on the left wing, and a shot coming, blocked and smothered. This time by Wall. And that'll bring a face-off in the Toronto zone to his right.
The shots on goal now growing 13-6, favoring the Blackhawks. We mentioned that Austin Matthews, less than 5 minutes of ice time in the opening period, which is obviously low for him. John Tavares was in the same boat. And you do wonder, is Craig Berube trying to manage ice time a little better, or is the fourth line, because what they did last night, being rewarded with a little extra ice time tonight?
Leafs get the puck out into the center ice area, not onto the stick of Robertson, who forces it deep. It goes around back of the net. Robertson knocked his man down to get a loose puck. Plays it back to the point. Leafs there with Tanev getting the shot away, but that was blocked. Blackhawks breaking it back at center ice. Flipped it in on the left wing. Diligent back checking by Domi. Disrupts a pass to the side of the Leaf goal. Leafs goaltender has lost his stick. The puck is in the corner, and the stick is even further away from him. And now it's played out at center ice, and I don't know if Wall can go to it. He may be able to go to it now as Domi is able to carry the puck into the zone and flip it down into the corner. A centering pass then by the Leafs, and it was intercepted as McMahon got it out there. Azar in across the line for Chicago. Circles the Leaf goal. Tried to center. Bertuzzi never got it. And the Leafs Matthews starts back up ice for Toronto with a left wing feed. Benoit will get to the line. Benoit just playing it in deep on the end boards. Matthews stole it back, kicks it down to the side of the goal. Nice, a backhand. Good save made. The centering pass, and Marner's one-timer went wide. Played around back of the net. Matthews with it again, trying to barge his way out in front. Puck is still free, and the Blackhawks get it out of danger and get it into the Toronto bench and out of play. But a real good shift by Matthews, Nyes, and Marner.
Twice Austin Matthews was able to pry the puck away from a Blackhawk player. And one in behind the net. I mean, he lifts the stick and then kicks it to Matthew Nyes, who then takes it from below the goal line towards the front of the net. Mitch Marner had a pretty good opportunity in the high slot as well.
Yep, and just sent it wide on a one-timer. Best shift of the game for the Maple Leafs?
Yeah, best pressure, absolutely.
Draw one by Toronto. See if they can follow up on it. Lorenz tries to get a shot away. Did, and then a backhand by Camp was fanned upon, and it's cleared out at center ice, and the Leafs have to go back to their own zone. Pass up the middle, comes all the way back to Wall, and now he plays it into the corner for Morgan Riley, who will play it up on the wing, and Steves gets it ahead. 2-on-1 break for the Leafs. Lorenz in! Shot stopped, and a stick breaks. Whose stick is that?
Almost looks like a blade.
Yes. Or maybe the top of the shaft. But they're still playing, and the shot taken by Steves was deflected wide. That's very strange. We got to see. I hope they show us that again. Played off on the right side. Nylander off the bench for the shot, and it is corralled by Soderblom, and he's going to hold on. That was bizarre, wasn't it? You looked around for somebody without a stick.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's the butt end of the stick that was broken. You saw the rest of the stick sitting right around the Chicago line. And Steven Lorenz shot
the stick.
As he shot the stick, there was about, 8 inches of the knob of the stick laying there when he let it go.
Yep. About that much.
How would you know?
Played out at center ice. Grabbed off there by Timmins. He gets in, or Holmberg on the left wing. Holmberg with a sharp angle shot. Didn't hit the net. Kept in now by Toronto. Long on the far boards. 1-0 Chicago, second period. In along the board, centering pass for Nylander. Didn't reach him. And the Blackhawks are going to be able to get it out on the left wing. Tanev goes back to recover a loose puck. Finds his defense partner, and McCabe gets it ahead. Tavares will launch it high down into Chicago territory. Pontus Holmberg with it. Cycles it back around behind the net. Centering pass by Tavares, and at least Nylander never did get the shot away. Nylander hustling after it in the corner. Steals it back. Now tries to push it along the boards. Stick handles it out in front with a backhand. And it went off the blocker of Soderblom over top of the net. Good work by Nylander on the end boards. Now Domi follows it up. Centers it front. Backhand try by McMahon is stopped by Soderblom, and a whistle. And a holding call coming from the referee out in center ice, and it's going to be Seth Jones going to the box. So the Leafs will get their first power play opportunity of the game.
Again, the Leafs, they've already equaled their first period total in shots, and we're just a little over 5 minutes into the second period here. And I think this is a bit of a weak call here, Joe. I mean, the stick does get into the... Bobby McMahon does a pretty good job of clamping onto the stick of Jones, and you actually could have called that holding the stick, couldn't you?
Yeah.
The other way.
Yep. But it will even the power plays out at 1 apiece, and the Hawks win the faceoff. They're going to get a chance to clear, and they do. Marner will go back into his own end. Leafs on the power play this year, 35 of 153, 12th best record in the National Hockey League. Cleared off the glass into the crowd by the goaltender Soderblom, and there's going to be a face-off in the Chicago end. He had a player right beside him, and that would have transferred down the ice. Instead, a errant shot by the goaltender ends up bringing an important face-off into his zone to the left. And the Hawks win the face-off. This time it will not be the goaltender shooting it down the ice. but the Hawks do. And it is down into the Toronto end. Brought out now by Matthews. He works to the line and flips in on the left wing for Tavares. Centering pass blocked. Matthews up against the end boards. Chipped it back along the boards. It'll be played up at center and one-handed down the ice now by Chicago. Marner going back. Marner comes out at center. Plays it on the left wing for Matthews. Slid in around the boards to the far corner, but the Hawks get there first. And down the ice she goes. Minute left in the power play. Wall leaving it for Marner, who will go back. First unit remains out there. Played up at center ice for Matthews. Banked in over the line. Robertson after it, but can't get to it cleanly. Now when he does, he comes away with it in the far corner. Brings it back to the half board. Sent it back for Matthews. Matthews, a nice move to get it out into the slot. A tip pass for Domi. Work down into the left wing corner. Now back of the net. Back to Domi in the near corner. Back to the point to Marner. Marner to Domi. Needs someone to shoot the puck. Domi does. And it's right into the glove of Soderblom. And he is going to stop play. Taking that eye high.
It is incredible, isn't it, how a power play can sap the energy ahead? I mean, they had such great pressure to draw the penalty. And since then, they've just gone cold. It wasn't really until they were able to get Domi and Robertson and McMahon on the ice that they finally got a puck to the net.
The audio of John Cooper behind the Team Canada bench. Somebody be selfish and shoot the puck in the net.
Yeah. The great thing was Alex Killorn was interviewed. He was in Boston because Anaheim was in Boston for the next game, and he said exactly that, what Cooper would say to them between periods. Somebody be selfish.
Yep. Here's Domi centering in front. They score. Nick Robertson set up by Max Domi, and the Maple Leafs tie the game after the power play had expired.
We talked about how these three were on fire back in December. And it was Bobby McMahon that got in. He's outnumbered in the corner to the right of Soderblom. But he one-hands the puck from the corner out to Max Domi. And Domi looks up and sees Nick Robertson alone on the far side. And he throws it to the right wing side from just above the goal line. And Nick Robertson, just a quick one-timer to put it past the Chicago goaltender and tie this game up at 1.
7:09 the time of the goal. And so it will be a power play goal. That comes just with seconds remaining in. And Nick Robertson has equalized for Toronto on a nice setup by Max Domi. So both teams able to score with the man advantage. In against the boards. Lorenz pushes it free for Camp. Back of the net. Alex Steeves was in front, but he couldn't get the pass. Now back of the net, it'll go into the near corner. Camp chasing, and it's up on the wing. And the Blackhawks get it to the Toronto zone and in. And then a pass knocked away off the stick of TJ Brody, who was in deep. There are 5 former Leafs playing for the Blackhawks. Leafs have it in their own zone with Jake McCabe, former Blackhawk, playing it up on the wing and now gets it back. McCabe, a pass deflected in by Steeves, who of course scored his first NHL goal last night and just about an hour away from where he played his collegiate hockey at South Bend, Indiana. And across the line, the Hawks trying to get it in front. Stolen back nicely by Tavares. Up ahead, Nylander with speed crossing the line. Dropped it back, but Tavares overskated the puck. And then it's out at center ice and brought in and shot into the lead zone by Lukas Reichel. Reichel into the corner after it. Chipped along the boards. Played around back into the corner. That draws a crowd. Finally, it is Holmberg finding some room. Cuts across in front of the net. Dropped the puck back. And Benoit will save him there to get it up on the boards. And then he gets crumpled in behind as he got leveled by Reichel from behind. Leafs pass ahead at center. Just chipped into the zone nicely by Holmberg. And Holmberg into the forecheck as the Hawks will get it up on the wing. Craig Smith to center ice. 1-1 tie in the second period at the United Center. Domi back in, taking a shot. That went off the crossbar and up into the screen. And Max Domi, trying to end that 0 for 23 streak, has a nice assist to set up Robertson in a 1-1 tie with Chicago. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Visit connexontario.ca.
The all-electric Honda Prologue SUV is here at your local Ontario Honda dealer. And with features perfect for the city and the backcountry, like all-wheel drive for tougher winter roads and a range up to 450 kilometers on a full charge, you may think Honda made an electric SUV just for Ontario. Get up to a $12,000 Honda bonus on all remaining 2024 Prologue models. Plus, qualified Honda owners get an additional $2,000 loyalty bonus. OAC conditions apply. Range based on combined city and highway. Bonus available when you lease or finance through HFS at a standard rate. See HondaOntario.com.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists? The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Got it into the slot now for Nyes, who scores!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Leafs won and the Blackhawks won as Nick Robertson ties the game with his 9th goal of the season. And Domi and McMahon have been credited with assists, but a nice pass by Max Domi, who then rifled it off the crossbar and up and out. That line remains out there to start after the timeout. And Robertson will move in as Domi is waved out of the faceoff circle. Hawks control. Jones sending it high into neutral ice. Played into the Toronto zone. Out of the goal comes Wall. Played it back along the boards. Leafs trying to get it free and have airmailed it to the blue line, and then it's wrapped by Domi out at center ice, and McMahon trying to set up. Here's Robertson stealing, got it on the left wing. Domi nowhere to go but play it around the boards. It finds the defense, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson sent it in front, but it was intercepted, and then an errant pass will turn into an icing against Chicago, and it'll be brought back into the Blackhawks zone.
We did talk about Connor Bedard, and they really haven't been able to build around him. So the first overall pick in 2023, the last time they had a first overall pick. Before that was 2007 and Patrick Kane.
Wow.
Now look who Kane came up with. From Jonathan Page to Seabrook for the big guys. But Kane's entry-level deal, they were able to go to the conference finals and win a Stanley Cup before he got his payday.
Shot from the point, scores! Right off the face-off, the Leafs take the lead. Jake McCabe with a shot from the blue line. I don't think this hits a Leaf. It may have hit a Blackhawk in front, but the Leafs take a 2-1 lead on a quick shot right off the point, off the face-off win.
Austin Matthews won it back to Chris Tanev. And Tanev goes D to D, and McCabe with the one-timer. It looked like it must have hit something, though, didn't it, Joe? No,
it
that
didn't.
Might have been just
there was a lot of fly-by traffic in front of the goaltender.
It was Seth Jones that might have provided the final screen on Soderblom, and the Leafs have their first lead of the night.
Austin Matthews follows up an empty net goal last night with a tally here this evening, or with an assist here this evening. Leafs get it down, and Nyes with a shot that deflected wide. Blackhawks on the far boards trying to get it out. And they'll play it out on the left wing, and out at center ice it comes. Hawks in across the line, dropping it off now for Teravainen. His feet in front of the net, intercepted by Nyes. Nyes with some skating room to his liking, drops it off. Brought on now by Matthews. He'll ring it around the boards, hoping for Nylander to reach it. He does to get it to Pontus Holmberg. Tried to get it in front. Matthews stole it back momentarily. Got it into the corner, and the Blackhawks restore it back of the net. Nylander doing a nice job tying up his man to allow Pontus Holmberg to the puck. Tried to center. It comes back to the point. Benoit on his backhand doesn't send it to the net, but into the far corner. Grabbed off by Holmberg again. Holmberg cycles out. Dropped it off for the defense. Here's Timmins working in with a shot. That deflected wide. It comes to the near boards and all the way out at center. And Benoit has to go back to retrieve it. He'll get it ahead. Holmberg launches it high and into the zone. Timmins goes in after it. Couldn't get to it. Played around the wall to the far side and out at center ice again. Leafs back at their own blue line to regroup. Brought on by Nylander on the left wing. Into the half board, stops into the near corner, circles back, centering pass in front, another shot, big save off the stick of Tavares. Riley keeps it in with a shot that's wide. Tavares with a great scoring chance there. Tavares with it on the far half boards, tried to play it back, but it was intercepted by Chicago, and the Hawks play it down into the Toronto end. Morgan Riley quickly back up off the boards to find his man. Lorenz got it in across the line, but Steves couldn't reach it, and the pass comes back out into the center ice area. Now chipped in by Tavares. In goes Alec Steves after the puck. Steves in against the boards. Got it freed up, played back to the blue line. Leafs get it to Camp. Camp fans on a pass, but the fake was so good that it allowed him to get a good shot away. Steves and Lorenz on his knees back to the point. Another shot coming, and it's high and wide. Good pressure by the fourth line. Steves with it. Laying it off now and giving it to David Camp. Back to Steves in the near corner. Back of the net it goes. Looking for a man in front. Camp was coming down the slot, and Bobby McMahon couldn't get him the puck. Back to the blue line again. McCabe once more. Off the boards to the wing for Tanev, who play it around back of the net. Steves into the near corner. McMahon gets it back to the point. A long shot in traffic. Covered up, and now Steves tangled up in front of the net. Although we're not going to see much more of what's going on because we're going to a commercial break right now. 7.5 minutes to go in the second period. It's 2-1 Toronto. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
MLB Network Radio gets you ready for opening day with a tour of spring training.
The best time of the year.
Hear interviews with all-stars.
This is Mookie Betts.
I'm Adley Rutschman. I'm Aaron Judge. And insights and analysis of all 30 clubs.
The biggest thing here in spring camp is there's a different aura.
Offensively, this guy is just a machine. Talk baseball with our experts on Channel 89 in the car. And listen to your favorite team spring training show on the SiriusXM app. Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
Playing in the Four Nations face-off for Team USA, Connor Hellebuck.
How do you feel about getting a chance to play for USA?
The type of hockey it's going to be fun. There's going to be some high-pressure games. You're going to be putting your country's jersey on. You're representing your country. I think we're going to have a great fan base around us, and I'm really looking forward to what it brings.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. From in the crease to in the locker room.
Four Nations Team Canada face-off associate GM Jim Nill. You as a manager view goaltending going into the tournament in February.
Now we're talking about two of the guys that won Stanley Cups and play in those type of pressure games. That's a pretty good resume to have. So we're pretty confident with it and pretty confident with the team that we're going to have playing in front of them.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The world's most thrilling league is now in the palm of your hand. Hear every English Premier League match all season long on the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favorite team.
And the Leafs Radio Network.
Leafs 2 and the Blackhawks 1. Jake McCabe giving the Leafs the lead with his second goal of the season. Nick Robertson with his second power play goal of the season. The goal scorers here in the second period, which has been dominated by the Leafs.
Really, the only downside for the Leafs in this period was the first minute 50 of the power play. They couldn't generate much.
Leafs win the face-off. Riley down the left wing boards. A centering pass went by everyone. Robertson sends it back to the goal line. Oh, and now is scooped off the goal line by Chicago. They'll have to look at this, but it was right there.
Yeah, TJ Brody was the one that I think just does sweep it away. As this got through Soderblom and started to roll towards, it just got up on end.
On edge. And it was rolling along the goal line. Wow.
Another quick shot by Nick Robertson.
Draw one by Toronto at the point. Ekman Larsson sends a high shot well wide of the goal. Robertson, a nice tip pass to McMahon. He couldn't get it in front. McMahon gets it off the boards, but it's out of the reach of OEL. And Oliver Ekman Larsson has to go back to pick it up. Leaf veteran gets it up on the wing. Chipped ahead, out at center. McMahon goes after it. Domi has it on the left wing, looking to center. It bounces towards Oliver Ekman Larsson, who plays it back at the net. And the puck comes out in front as Domi was able to steal it. And now the Hawks just panic-stricken there, just get rid of it. McCabe back in his own zone. Starting out with it. McCabe gets it up on the left wing and plays it off Robertson down into Chicago territory. The Hawks regain it. And it is played out at center ice and to the line. That looked close to being offside, but Donato was able to center it. That went off a skate. And Tanev gets it out, but intercepted by Donato. Donato back in on the left wing. Tanev taking him wide. The puck along the boards. And the Leafs are able to break it out. Nyes for Marner across the line. Nyes trying to scoop it away from the defenseman. Knocks him down, Jones, but his defense partner is there to take it to safety, Alec Martinez. And now Jones will get a long lead pass to center, and Donato will send it down into the Toronto end. Out come the Maple Leafs to center. Brought on now by Nylander. Left wing side, stops up. Brings it back towards the blue line, dropping it off for Benoit down low, looking for a wrap around it for the backhand try. And that was stopped by the goaltender, Soderblom. And out come the Blackhawks to center. In on the left wing. Foligno missed the check, but gets it back, and the shot is stopped by Wall. And the Leafs are going to get it out. Nylander skating to open ice, but won't get to the puck in time. Hawks bring it right back in. And across the line and into the corner. Foligno gets a drop pass, trying to send it around now for Teravainen. Teravainen, long shot blocked in the end of the corner. Foligno plays it back. Teravainen, of course, was in Carolina for 8 seasons after he started his NHL career with the Blackhawks. Foligno playing it back into the corner. And it'll come around the board, still freed up as it comes back to the point. Murphy at the near boards. Drops it back to his defense partner. A long shot in traffic. That went off a body and went wide. I don't think Wall ever saw it. Murphy back at the net trying to center it. Rolled right through the blue paint. And it is Tavares coming away with it. And he stops up in his own zone to get him some space. Finds Benoit, who will play it off the glass, but not get it in deep. Leafs trying to get a change going. Hawks shoot it into the Toronto zone. Cleared back by Wall. Leafs get it to the line, but a turnover. Good chance here. Kurashev and a shot that was deflected wide. Down into the corner. Wrapped around its head, coming out of front. Whoa! Coming out to make a big save, and then sprawls on it as Nazar came out from the corner and got a pretty good scoring chance.
Best pressure the Chicago Blackhawks have had in the entire period, and Joseph Wall, who's had a quiet second, comes up with his biggest save of the night.
2-1 Toronto. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The Subaru winter has arrived. The crisp air and negative temperatures mean one thing: camping. Emerge from your icy tent and bask in 4 to 6 hours of sunlight. Enjoy the unmistakable smell of campfire through the glacial wind pummeling your face. Relax by the water, taking in the soothing sounds of thick ice cracking and popping. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
Over to our sideline reporter. Download the app and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
The all-electric Honda Prologue SUV is here at your local Ontario Honda dealer. And with features perfect for the city and the backcountry, like all-wheel drive for tougher winter roads and a range up to 450 kilometers on a full charge, you may think Honda made an electric SUV just for Ontario. Get up to a $12,000 Honda bonus on all remaining 2024 Prologue models. Plus, qualified Honda owners get an additional $2,000 loyalty bonus. OAC conditions apply. Range based on combined city and highway. Bonus available when you lease or finance through HFS at a standard rate. See HondaOntario.com.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
They score! Rocket McMahon again!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Maybe Joseph Woll's best save of the game.
Yeah, he's in a scary territory right now because his last number of wins, last 5 wins, he's given up 3 goals. Last 3 losses, he's given up 2 goals in each game. So he might want to give up a couple more.
Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Leafs play it down into the Chicago end. Nyes into the forecheck. Trying to dig it free as Marner. It comes to Matthews. Matthews fanned on a pass. Has it again against the boards. Trying to get it back to the point and does. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, a spinorama move. A centering pass comes right through the skates of Nyes. Couldn't get a stick on it. Oliver Ekman-Larsson trying to keep it in, but it is punched down the boards, and Riley has to skate hard to get to that puck to get it ahead from Donato. Down along the boards on the near side, played ahead by Riley. That's going the length of the ice, though. And an icing call will come with 3:22 left to play in the second period. The Leafs lead 2-1.
Just so I said it for people to understand, he's given up 3 goals a game in each of his last 5 wins.
But
2 goals a game in his last 3 losses. Oh, it was a total 5 goals against to the 5 wins. I mean, it's just kind of a...
Yeah, you play better in the losses than you do in the wins, or at least your goals against average is better. Let's put it that way. 2-1, Toronto. Hawks win the draw, and the shot went high and wide right off the faceoff. Jones will punch it around the boards. It'll go to his defense partner who keeps it in. Left wing side, knocked out high in the air by Matthews' glove. Now he tries to play it around back of the net and is successful in finding Morgan Riley. Riley stretches it out to bank it off the glass and get it out at center. Kurashev got it ahead and now brought in by Bertuzzi into the slot. Jones with a shot. Riley had that deflect off his stick up into the glass, and the Leafs are able to punch it out at center. Riley coming slowly to the red line. Got it in on the left wing. Pontus Holmberg, a sharp angle shot. Pad save made by Soderblom. And the Hawks take it back. A 2-on-2 rush. Working in over the line to the left wing side. Good play by Tanev to take his man wide, and then ends up getting the puck freed up for McCabe. The Hawks crisscrossed in front of the 2-on-2, and both McCabe and Tanev played it rather expertly, I should suggest. Nylander starts away at center. Got to the line, but couldn't get around the defense. Blackhawks back with Foligno. Sudbury native works it on the left wing boards and plays it around back of the net. Cut off by McCabe. Got it ahead for Bobby McMahon. He lost it. Hawks after it in the corner on the far zone. Teravainen trying to get it freed up on the near side. Looks for a man in front. He did. And that went wide of Mikheyev. Back it comes for Teravainen. Teravainen again into the slot. Foligno twisting and turning with it. Captain of the Blackhawks sends it into the slot area. Good play by Tavares to knock it down. And then he banks it down the boards, but it's going to be an icing with 1:40 to go in the period. And the faceoff coming back. Last night, Austin Matthews scored into the empty net his 389th career goal, which tied him with Darryl Sittler. Now, the thing about that is that he's done it in a lot less games. And Matt Sundin leads with 420, and one would suggest that sometime next year that's probably going to be a topic of discussion.
A no-brainer?
I would suggest that would be the easiest wager to make, maybe. Leafs clear the zone. Shot back in by Connor Murphy. Tanev works into the corner. Took a hit. The Leafs play it up off a skate. Trying to chip it, but it's stolen back by Chicago. Back to the point. Pass into the slot area. Fed up by Patrick Maroon. Looking for a man in front. Bedard was there, and it bounced away from him. Bedard plays it back to the blue line. Murphy steps in, back to Bedard. Bedard working along the board, cycles it in for Murphy. Murphy's pass cut off by a quick move there by Tanev, and he's going to bank it out at center and down into the Chicago end, but it'll turn into an icing. Nonetheless, nice play by Tanev to read that cycle and just turn it around and bring it back.
Well, it's going to be some interesting decisions for the Chicago Blackhawks. At the end of this year, Ryan Donato, Pat Maroon, Craig Smith, Alec Martinez, all unrestricted free agents. Seth Jones has come out and said that he would like to be moved to a team that has an opportunity to not only make the playoffs, but go on a run, although he has acknowledged that his contract could be difficult to move. I believe he's $9.5 million a year.
Kyle Davidson is the general manager of the Blackhawks. Shot from the point, wired high and wide off the glass behind the Leaf goal. It played into the far corner. Last minute of play in the second period. McCabe and Tanev able to get the puck free. It came free in front of the net, though, and a backhand attempt by Donato was thwarted with a good stick by McCabe. A centering pass comes back to the point. Hawks with pressure here. Jones looking for the equalizer, but it's knocked away by Bobby McMahon and down into the Chicago zone. And McMahon almost beat Alex Vlasic to that puck, even though it was at the end of his shift. Hawks bring it back in. Ring the boards around to the far side. Oliver Ekman-Larsson chipping it out at center, and the race for it with Domi getting to it. He's got a man in front. He does! They score! Robertson, what a play by Max Domi! Just hustled down the wall, and he knew Robertson was alone. And the Leafs in the dying seconds have a 2-goal lead.
Boy, Hawks scored with 11 seconds left in the first, and the Leafs go up by 2 late here. And this is just a play. It was chipped up the boards, out of the Leaf zone, right wing boards, and Max Domi got on his horse and beat Seth Jones to the puck. He poked it further down, and when he got almost to the corner of the rink on the right wing side, lifted a rolling puck towards the front of the net, and Nick Robertson was the first one there.
Now the Hawks come back with a centering pass, and they score with 6.2 seconds left. Kurashev is going to get credit for the goal, and a quick turn of events from 3-1 back to a 1-goal lead.
Boy, Max Domi, Joe, fell in the corner, the opposite corner of the rink that he was in earlier. And the puck was thrown to the front of the net to get Chicago back into it. But you can see Max Domi coming back. Kind of did the flyby, and I think it was Nazar that was able to get it past him and throw it to the front of the net. And then you had Oliver Ekman-Larsson sort of fall as he turned. So it looked like the Leafs had a little bit of a cushion going into the second period, but that disappeared. What was the time?
11 seconds
11
apart.
seconds. Wow.
Robertson from Domi, and then Kurashev scores at 19:55, 11 seconds later, with his 5th of the season, and it is a 1-goal lead going to the third.
Remember, Pat Burns would always make a line change after a goal, whether it was for or against. And he said he just wanted guys to sit down and reset and not get caught up in the moment.
In the excitement of it. Yeah. All right. Good idea. Well, the Leafs have work to do in the third, but they do have the lead. And we'll step aside for Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
I'm Katie Nolan, and I have a new podcast called Casuals. It's a podcast for people who like sports a normal amount. Casuals is a twice-a-week hang with me and my friends from across comedy, sports, and entertainment, where we talk about all the funny, weird, interesting stuff happening in and around the world of sports. So whether you're a diehard fan or just vaguely sports curious, Casuals is the podcast for you. You can find Casuals on the SiriusXM app, Pandora, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Give it a try. What's the worst that could happen?
NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gord, and they must say, okay, if we make a coaching change here, chances are that at least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling an expletive, right? About, whatever, how that particular trend is going. So you're right. So far, it's like perfect.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
Playing in the Four Nations face-off for Team USA, Connor Hellebuck.
How do you feel about getting a chance to play for USA?
The type of hockey it's going to be fun. There's going to be some high-pressure games. You're going to be putting your country's jersey on. You're representing your country. I think we're going to have a great fan base around us. And I'm really looking forward to what it brings.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Avalanche General Manager Chris McFarland. What went in to maybe change that duo in goal?
With the work of our scout, Wedgwood's experience, he was a veteran guy, he's been through the grind. We were very bullish on McKenzie, and when the opportunity came to add him, we just felt it was the right move for us, long term.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Devils head coach Sheldon Keefe, you decided to jump right back into it.
New Jersey Devils reached out really within an hour or so of the news coming out of me being let go. And the more I got to know Tom and his vision for the team and seeing the situation, it was a tremendous opportunity that I couldn't let pass by.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Feel the excitement of the UEFA Champions League knockout stage on Sirius XM FC. Europe's best clubs.
What a start for Inter! And Barca are level! Brilliant Arsenal goal!
The world's brightest stars.
Mbappe! Kane! Salah to score!
All chasing club soccer's ultimate prize.
A new page in their glorious history!
The Champions League knockout stage, where legends are made. On Sirius XM FC, channel 157 in the car, and the Sirius XM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Four Nations Team Canada face-off associate GM Jim Nill. You as a manager view goaltending going into the tournament in February.
We're talking about two of the guys that won Stanley Cups and play in those type of pressure games. That's a pretty good resume to have. So we're pretty confident with it and pretty confident with the team that we're going to have playing in front of them.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
And the Leafs Radio Network.
There's Domi. Centering in front, they score! Nick Robertson set up by Max Domi. And the Maple Leafs tie the game after the power play had expired. Shot from the point, scores! Right off the face-off, the Leafs take the lead. Jake McCabe with a shot from the blue line. I don't think this hits a Leaf. It may have hit a Blackhawk in front, but the Leafs take a 2-1 lead on a quick shot right off the point, off the face-off win. Got a man in front, he does! They score! Robertson, what a play by Max Domi! Just hustled down the wall, and he knew Robertson was alone, and the Leafs in the dying seconds have a 2-goal lead.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. You heard it there, a 3-2 lead for Maple Leafs after 40 minutes. A lot of Robertson, a lot of Domi in those highlights.
A lot of track, too. We almost got through the entire track there.
I've never heard the end of the Molson Leafs Hockey song.
That was good. I like the end. We might need to incorporate that a little bit more.
Give us more of the end.
The end is pretty good.
It slaps.
Pretty spicy.
Yeah, Leafs with a 3-2 lead after 40. The first period was pretty non-eventful, but thanks to Robertson, Domi, McMahon, kind of making things happen for the Leafs, they had a 3-1 lead and just made it a little tighter there, 3-2 with 11 seconds left, or less than that, in the end of the second period, allowing the Blackhawks to crawl back into it. But I think that they are definitely the story of the second period.
Yeah, 3-goal outburst for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the second period. it doesn't feel overly explosive from the entire unit, but the third line definitely had things going there. Nick Robertson with both goals from the third line position, but you'd almost look to the other guys in some ways because Nick Robertson was definitely the finisher on those goals. Some hustle from Bobby McMahon leading to the first Robertson goal, some hustle and a nice pass from Max Domi leading to the second Robertson goal, and first assists on both goals for Max Domi. So it felt like he needed a night like this. Like Max Domi's always, it seems like he's in need of a little outburst, a little point surge, and the 2 primary assists is definitely befitting of a game that is dependent on the secondary scoring for the Maple Leafs coming through. But yeah, the last 11 seconds of the period included Max Domi getting absolutely danced by Frank Nazar.
No, it was Kurashev, wasn't it? Oh, no, you're right.
Kurashev scored the goal.
Sorry, right.
Nazar made the move around.
Oh, he danced him. I'm watching it now.
Ankles broken pretty severely, and Kurashev slides it in to make sure that we have a game in this third period. It could have been cruise control for the Maple Leafs, but the Kurashev goal certainly changes the complexion of the third period and probably the tone of Craig Berube after 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's too bad. I keep watching it on a loop here. Domi gets dangled. And he's definitely the story, at least of I believe it was the third goal for Leafs. He hustles down the ice, and it's Seth Jarvis kind of checking him, and he doesn't close in on
Seth Jones. Jarvis would never.
Oh, Seth Jarvis. I got 4 nations on the brain. Seth Jones is tracking Max Domi down the ice, and he doesn't really close in on him. He just one hand defends him, and Domi, credit to him, out hustles him, slides the puck across, and then there's an empty Nick Robertson alone in front of the net who just, raises the puck right away on a one-timer, and that goes in. But that was all Max Domi, all hustle, and I don't think it was early on in the shift. Like he was working hard. Looked terrible on Seth Jones, who also is asking to be traded. So I don't know if that's the type of skill set that we're looking for, but didn't really defend very well, allowed for the puck to go right across, and then kind of put his hands up in the air like, what was I supposed to do?
Yeah, it seemed like a very minor Max Domi head fake, which he throws all the time. Really flummoxed Seth Jones trying to basically complete some basic coverage of the defensive zone on that second Robertson goal. And you're right, Seth Jones made some news this week as it was reported that he and the Blackhawks will be working together on potentially coming together on a trade that would take him out of Chicago. He signed a massive deal with, I guess it was Stan Bowman, many years ago, that has him, pretty much in that albatross category where it's going to take some pretty overly optimistic teams to bring him in on a full ticket. I'm sure he would be slashed in either half or 3/4 in order to make that deal happen, because facilitating it as $9.5 million is almost impossible, it seems, this day of age. And when he's making defensive plays like that, I don't think it's going to help his value on the open market. There was some talk about maybe the Blue Jackets and a reunion, and that wouldn't be like as,
that's not a win. He wants to go win a cup.
It wouldn't, but it wouldn't be a cup team being like, okay, this is our one guy, this is our one chance. Like the Maple Leafs, we're going to improve our blue line right now. That wouldn't be the same thing with the Blue Jackets, who are still building there. But yeah, I don't know about Seth Jones anymore. The hardest thing to do in evaluating hockey players, I think, is defensemen on bad teams.
Oh yeah,
because their numbers are going to be bad. But the eye test, I don't know if Seth Jones is passing it tonight.
All right, so it's a 3-2 lead after 40 minutes. The Leafs getting goals from Robertson, TJ Brody saved one on the goal line there that almost had another one. But Robertson, Jake McCabe, and Robertson again. We'll take a quick break. We'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard and get you set for the third period. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hey everyone, Adney and Verk here to talk about our great podcast, NHL Unscripted with Verk and Demers.
Jason Demers here. After playing 700 NHL games, it turns out I have an opinion or two. Whoever's saying trade one of them, you don't know anything about hockey. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm rooting for this team. With new guests every week, we will talk about hockey and more.
Can't wait till you watch the movie because it's the biggest award of her career.
He went into the cheetah exhibit. The cheetah took a piece out of him, and he came into the ring the next day.
Tune in to NHL Unscripted with Verk and Demers, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. there's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
The all-electric Honda Prologue SUV is here at your local Ontario Honda dealer. And with features perfect for the city and the backcountry, like all-wheel drive for tougher winter roads and a range up to 450 kilometers on a full charge, you may think Honda made an electric SUV just for Ontario. Get up to a $12,000 Honda bonus on all remaining 2024 Prologue models. Plus, qualified Honda owners get an additional $2,000 loyalty bonus. OAC conditions apply. Range based on combined city and highway. Bonus available when you lease or finance through HFS at a standard rate. See HondaOntario.com.
Breaking news coming in 6.5. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Ah, at last, the Subaru winter is here. It's the perfect weather for the beach. Feel the sun's rays on the small amount of skin peeking out of your ski mask. Put on your beach puffer and hear the sound of the waves crashing over the chatter of your teeth. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Now it goes to Tavares. He'll shoot it, and he scores!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. It's a 3-2 lead for the Leafs. After 40 minutes, let's take a look at the NHL scoreboard. Presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca.
It's been a great weekend for Alexander Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals. 2 wins, and Ovi, with a hat trick, moves to within 13 goals of passing Wayne Gretzky with a 7-3 victory over Gretzky's former team, the Edmonton Oilers, this afternoon. The Rangers also this afternoon, 5-3 winners over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Just in overtime, a winner for the Red Wings, 5-4 in OT over the Anaheim Ducks. The Devils got a 5-0 victory over the Predators. Blues beat the Avalanche 3-1. I believe that was Jordan Binnington. Lightning 4-1 winners over the Seattle Kraken. It's 2-2 Stars and Islanders about midway through the game. 1-1 Sharks and Flames after one, and just getting underway. Actually, end of one. Utah and the Canucks. Scoreless.
All right, see if Leafs can hold on to a 3-2 lead. They gave the Chicago Blackhawks a little bit of fighting power there at the end of the period, allowing a goal in the dying seconds. So coming out with a 3-2 lead to start the third. We will have Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph with a call of that next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan of the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Color your workday with a vibrant mix of 90s and 2000s pop.
If it makes you happy.
To keep you moving and melt your stress away. Brighten your day with Mosaic. Channel 15. And at home on your computer, Alexa, TV, or other internet-connected devices. NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gore, and they must say, okay, if we make a coaching change here, chances are that at least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling an expletive, right? About, whatever, how that particular trend is going. So you're right. So far, it's like perfect.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Feel the excitement of the UEFA Champions League knockout stage on Sirius XM FC. Europe's best clubs.
What a start for Inter! And Barca are level! Brilliant Arsenal goal!
The world's brightest stars.
Mbappe! Kane! Salah to score!
All chasing club soccer's ultimate prize.
A new page in their glorious history!
The Champions League knockout stage, where legends are made. On Sirius XM FC, channel 157 in the car, and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM
and the Leafs Radio Network.
Leafs lead by a score of 3-2 heading to the third period. We've got to congratulate Mitch Marner and Stephanie Lachance, his partner. They're having a baby. And I believe it's a little boy that is on the way. So congratulations. I saw Mitch's dad after the game and said hello and congratulated him. And one of our Twitter friends has suggested one other point about the old Chicago Stadium. Blackhawk goal scored by number 9, Bobby Hull. Harvey Wittenberg. And we talked about Paul Morris, of course, passing. And those were two voices that when you heard, you knew where the game was being played.
Yeah, they were synonymous. Claude Mouton in Montreal.
Yes.
The Montreal Forum as well.
Yep.
And I do remember, and it was tied to Harvey, when he said something and 18,000 people murmured at the same time.
What was that?
He said, please scratch from your lineup number 35, Tony Esposito, and add number 1, Jim Ralph.
And everybody murmur.
Even I'm sitting there going, this doesn't sound good.
Who the hell is that guy? Oh, wait, it's me.
Yeah, they're in trouble.
So the Leafs will defend the goal to our left and the Blackhawks to the right. They have a 3-2 lead that should have been a 3-1 lead, except with 11 seconds between the Robertson goal and the second Blackhawk goal. Kurashev from Nazar and Jones, and it's back to a 1-goal bulge. The Leafs can't keep the puck in. It's pushed out at center ice, and a foot race here with McCabe trying to get back, and he does against Slaggert. It goes around back of the net for Chris Tanev. Tanev will work up on the far wing. Mishandled the puck, stopped to retrieve it, got it back to McCabe. He'll return the favor and head off to the bench. Tanev starting out of his own zone. Just got it ahead for Tavares. Tavares can't play it back, has to play it ahead, and Nylander scoops it the rest of the way down into Chicago territory. Hawks get it back out at center. Nylander intercepts again, then circles to get away from some checking. Got it to the line, in across the line, but his saucered pass was intercepted by Foligno, who gets it back out into neutral ice. Hawks Jones playing it down into the Toronto end. Tavares round on the boards, but not out. Trapped in a long shot is swallowed up by Joseph Wall, and he will stop play off a wrist shot taken by Seth Jones.
Well, the Leafs would like that 2-goal lead. They've got a spotless record this season when leading after 2 periods of play, 24-0. When leading after 2, but boy, you give up 2 goals in the dying seconds of each period. Those are usually the killers, aren't they?
Oh boy, yeah.
Ray Berube did say he liked the way the team played last night, but he said, I wish we would have been a little more aggressive in the third period offensively instead of collapsing back and trying to protect the lead.
A 4-goal lead at that point, right? Yeah. Puck in the corner in the near zone in the Leaf end. Still scrummed up against the boards. They hack, whack, and slash. Still up against the boards. Finally dug out, and the Leafs are going to push it out at center ice and get it up on the near boards, backhanded down into Chicago territory. Camp is first to it. Got it out in front, scooped aside by Soderblom. And it comes all the way around the boards and down to the Toronto blue line. Tanev to McCabe. Passed ahead. Off the boards and down into Chicago territory. Soderblom will leave it there for his defenseman. And now Jones starts out. Jones with a lead pass to center. Hawks get it in across the line, left wing side, but Maroon couldn't trap it. Leafs counter. Domi getting across the line with a pass. In on the wing, Robertson dropping it back, and Riley couldn't finish a shot. It comes back to Morgan Riley at the left point. Now to O'Yell and a shot, and that was deflected off the blocker of Soderblom. Riley another quick wrist shot, blocked in front. Oliver Ekman-Larsson taken down. A penalty coming to Chicago. Here's Domi down into the corner to Ekman-Larsson. Oliver Ekman-Larsson into the slot area. Domi with it once more. Back to Riley, looking for his defense partner, finding him into the slot area for Austin Matthews. Left wing side, Domi playing it back, and it's going to come all the way back out at center ice.
I don't think Matthews was expecting that, because Matthews had some room in the slot, but looked like he was looking off.
And the Hawks finally touch the puck here, and so a penalty coming. And it will be Craig Smith going to the penalty box, I believe, for the infraction.
Chicago number 15, 2 minutes, tripping.
Smith had the only goal for the Blackhawks in their 5-1 loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets last night. What are they calling it, Joey? A tripping?
Yep. I got the stick wrapped around Ekman-Larsson and kind of yanked the feet out from under him. So the Leafs to the power play, second of the game. And it was very ineffectual until it scored.
So the second unit was out late.
Draw one by the Leafs. Marner into the slot. Down low, a chip in front of the net. Chapped there by Matthews. Stopped, and Nylander knocked down from behind, but Nyes carries into the corner. It'll come around to find Matthews at the near point. Back to the blue line to Marner. Wrist shot coming. Blocked in front. Still free. Matthews couldn't knock it down. Hawks trying to break out with knowing that Marner's the defenseman. Here's Teravainen. A pass into the slot area. Roll back, and it's going to be played out at center. Down comes Nylander now. Breaking in on the left wing with a shot, and he fired it wide. Trapped at the near point, but Tavares can't keep it in. Marner has to get back. Teravainen's out of gas and flips it into the corner. Now the Leafs trying to play some defense without a defenseman down in their own zone. Teravainen up against the boards, but Matthews pries it free, and Marner has it around back of the net. The more you work at it, the better it'll be. Not playing with a defenseman, I think. Here's Matthews coming out. Played it through center ice. Dropped by Robertson to the line for Domi. Domi into the slot. Played it off on the left wing for Morgan Riley. Got it back to the blue line. Ekman-Larsson had trouble handling, but it works down into the corner. Now back of the net. Trying to work out in front with a pass. It comes all the way back to the blue line to Riley. Riley along to Ekman-Larsson. Ekman-Larsson looking in front for Robertson. Finds him in the corner. Back into the slot, but it's tipped by a Chicago stick and out at center ice. Leafs just getting back on side as Domi brings it back in. But an errant pass, and the Blackhawks are going to break it out and send it down into the Leaf end. Oliver Ekman-Larsson goes back, chipping it away. Boy, we saw Anthony Stolarz, who handles the puck so well back there, right? And Wall has got things to learn in that department of his game. Puck back at the net. Penalty has expired. It comes into the slot, a drive. Good save by Soderblom as Ekman-Larsson let it go from just at the top of the circle. Hawks will chip it back into Toronto territory. McCabe up along the boards for Tanev. Quickly finds Steves. Alec Steves to center. He'll flip it into the corner and race in there after it. Gets a good hit in there to free it up for Lorenz. Lorenz back along the boards. Steves was unable to trap it there. Camp on his man. Steves trying to help out. Now Lorenz gets a piece of his man. Kept in there by Ekman-Larsson for the moment, but the Blackhawks are out. Here's Bedard, chased down nicely by Lorenz, but the puck is in back of the net. Bedard takes a hit as the Hawks get it back from Donato to the blue line, and a shot about 35 feet wide there by Nolan Allen. And the Hawks trying to keep it in. Bedard back at the blue line. Plays it along the board, swept in back by Kurashev. Pass in front of the net. Lorenz is there to take it to safety. We're trying to bring it out now. Skates away to center. Still with it. Trying to get to the red line, and he just did. He was out of gas, but made a good play to get to the red line and get it down into Chicago territory. Nylander forechecking back of the goal. Can't come up with the puck. The Leafs lead 3-2. And we've got 13:48 left. Shot deflects off a broken stick. And the Leafs come away with it to play it up on the wing, but it's cut off by Bertuzzi. Tyler Bertuzzi sends it around the boards to the far side. Blackhawks, Foligno looking for a man. The captain of the Hawks sends it on the backhand behind the net for Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi trying to spin away there from Benoit. Benoit reaching around him, makes a good play. Foligno is engaged there by Timmins. When Benoit tags up his man, played back to the net by Tavares, but it won't reach Timmins. Tavares has to get after it with Foligno getting it back to the goal. Bertuzzi back to the point. Pass into the near side. Kurashev into the slot. One-timer is caught by Wall with a bit of a screen in front. And it is held for a face-off coming in the Toronto zone. The Leafs 3 and the Blackhawks 2. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
This is former MLB GM Jim Bowden with an important message for fantasy baseball players. Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern, I'm joined by former general manager Steve Phillips, and we'll talk fantasy baseball to help you draft a winning lineup. From player projections to draft strategies, we bring our big league experiences to provide you with the fantasy baseball advice you crave.
I'm definitely going to take a position player with my first 2 picks. I will be able to find pitching later in the draft.
The GM's Corner, Fantasy Sports Radio, Channel 87, and on the SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
I think general managers must sit back in their chairs, Gore, and they must say, okay, if we make a coaching change here, chances are that at least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling an expletive, right? About, whatever, how that particular trend is going. So you're right. So far, it's like perfect.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick.
What's up, insiders? Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for the Maple Leafs game. Now's the time of the show for you to let us know in the chat where you're watching from. Speaking of which, where's Tom? Tom!
I'm right here, Dad.
Hey.
And I want to know where you're from, too, and see how far it reaches.
All right, so you heard the man. Let us know in the chat where you're watching from. City and province in Canada, city and state in the United States, all over the world. Let us know. Put your flag emoji in the chat, or let us know your city and country. So great to be hanging out with all of you tonight. Now let's get back to the hockey. What are we going to start? Start the chant, Tom.
Go Leafs, go.
Yeah.
Upstairs to come out at either end behind the goal. What was that like?
It was, well, for me, I was a huge fan growing up in the Sioux. I mean, I watched, you lived for Hockey Night Canada on Saturday nights. You loved when NBC got Sunday afternoon games to watch. But it was surreal going up those steps saying, I've seen this on TV so many times. And it's so cool.
Hawks get it in over the line. A long shot deflects away from Wall into the corner. Centering effort was blocked. Hustling after it is Mikheyev. Got it back to the net for Foligno, who gets it back to the blue line. Hawks with pressure here. Kept alive by Connor Murphy and along the boards. Back it comes to the point. Swept in there by Slaggert. It goes back to the point on the left wing side. Mikheyev with a shot. That was blocked. Vlasic trying to get it in front of the net. The Leafs come away with it and just get it to the line, but not out. And now on second effort, Marner chipping it off the glass to center. Murphy goes back for it. The other thing about the stadium, biggest cats I ever saw in my life had the full roam of that building. They were enormous. Of course, they ate well.
They made their own food there, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, they chased it pretty good, I think. You had to make sure in your hockey bag that there wasn't a little rodent or a large rodent coming home with you when you left the stadium. Brought to center ice by the Leafs and lifted into the left wing corner, but it bounces and now right to the goaltender, and Soderblom will cover up on it and hold for a face-off. Steve's down there.
The other strange thing, they still have it at the United Center now. Gate 3.5.
Yes.
And I remember getting the first training camp invite in the mail. Please report to gate 3.5. And I'm going, really?
Where is that?
Oh, you're going, really? Like, I knew this wasn't real.
Who would have a half a gate somewhere? Yeah. And it was right off the parking lot, and kind of the staff and player entrance was gate 3.5. Yep. Around the boards, it'll be played out at center for Robertson. Nicky has a couple of goals in this one. Down into the corner, tripped up along the far boards was Domi, and the Hawks are able to break it out at center. Brought to the line and mishandling the puck there was Nazar, and it never did get into the Toronto zone. Now Bertuzzi has his pocket picked by Domi. Timmins gets it ahead. Bobby McMahon sends it deep into Chicago territory. Jones carrying it around back of the net, got it up on the wing. Tavares cut it off at the blue line, just kept into the slot area, and a chance there by Pontus Holmberg, but it went off a leg and harmlessly wide. Tanev will bring it back to the blue line and in. Left there for Nylander. Nylander stops, turns back to Tanev, goes D to D to the left wing side. Back to Nylander in the slot. Back to McCabe in front of the goal, and a one-timer by Pontus Holmberg was missed completely. He was in a great position, and all he has to do is make contact.
Well, he had the 2 goals last night, including an empty netter. But it was the first time he had scored since December in the game that Anthony Stolarz had his last win, his last complete game. That was a 2-1 win over the New Jersey Devils. How about this, going back to the Seattle game before the break, Joe? Goal scorers for the Leafs: Robertson 2, Holmberg 2, Steeves, Kampf, Riley, Myers, McMahon, Nyes, Tavares, Matthews.
Wow.
How's that for spreading it out?
Played around back of the net. Nylander is wedged to the boards. Got a way to get into the attack along the wall. Tavares adding support there. And the Hawks will get clear of it and get it out at center and down into the Leaf zone. Smith works back towards the blue line. Tried to drop it back, and then it's cleared by Patrick Maroon into the corner. Leafs get it out, and now brought out at center ice is Tavares, dropping it off. Morgan Riley gives to Nylander. Nylander slides by. Fed off to Tavares. Tavares trying to play it down into the corner and does. Hawks will get it to the blue line, and Nyes just failed to keep it in as it's batted up on the boards and down into Toronto territory. No icing. 9:37 to play in the third period. The Leafs with a 3-2 lead. Brought to center by Tanev. Tanev in around the boards to the far side. Matthews will cut it off. Tied up against the wall by Teravainen. Nyes was able to play it free. It was in the skates of the Leaf defenseman. He didn't realize it. And then, or at least Nyes couldn't help him out. And then the Blackhawks kind of panic with a pass. Ends up going the length of the ice, and an icing call will stop play and bring it back into Chicago territory. 9:14 left to play in the third, and the Leafs nursing a 1-goal lead.
Tavares line has played more than the Matthews line that stays out now to take the face-off here. But at this point, Matthews 14:28, Marner 14:45 in ice time.
Played into the corner. Marner coming out in front of the net and trying to get a one-timer away was Matthews, but it went right by him. Played up on the wing and kept in then by Oliver Ekman-Larsson into the slot area. Marner can't come up with it. Blackhawks will play it up the boards. And Mikheyev trying to get it out, does. And Foligno will get it to the red line and push it to the blue line. But the Leafs come away with it, and they'll start back up ice. Riley will shoot it in. Marner hoping it'll reach him, but it's cut off by Chicago. Played back in the net by by the forward Vlasic, and now sent down into the Toronto end, but no icing, says the linesman. Timmins quickly back to his defense partner, but it's stolen by Chicago in a centering pass, and that was knocked away as Nazar had a great opportunity on the turnover. Timmins finds Benoit. Benoit off the boards through center. Blocked there and played back at center ice. Brought in now by the Blackhawks into the slot area. Nice play to get it close to the net. Made there by Kurashev, but he ran out of real estate. And the net got pretty close to him, and he couldn't do much with it. Goaltender plays it around in the Chicago end. Batted along the boards. Corralled by Toronto. Back to the point it comes. Tanev closes. Shooting. Glove. Rebound. Scores! In front of the net, and Pontus Linus Holmberg, but is it Tanev's goal? The way they're celebrating, I don't think Holmberg gets a stick on it.
No, I think this might have bounced in off a Chicago player because Holmberg turned and pointed right to Tanev, and Tanev is the first one to the bench for the high fives. And he is looking up at the scoreboard trying to get a replay of how this went in. He walks in from the right point, top of the circle, and he fires it. This may have gone off T.J. Brody and skipped past Soderblom. Yeah, it goes off Soderblom's right pad. He kicks it out off the skate of T.J. Brody and into the net. And add Chris Tanev to the list of unlikely goal scorers in the last couple of games.
Well, it's a good thing he scored because his defense partner had crept ahead of him with his second goal of the season, as McCabe scored earlier. Now Tanev has two, but a centering pass here by Chicago, and the Leafs had a 2-goal lead for 11 seconds in the second period near the end. Now see if they can protect this a little longer. Back to the point in the Toronto zone, a shot that went wide. Out grabbed off by Tanev and played along the boards. Nylander getting it ahead for Tavares. Tavares sending it back. Leafs are trying to get a change going. Tanev will stretch things out and is pointing McCabe to head to the bench as well. Robertson comes back to swing in his own zone, and Bobby McMahon starts out as the Hawks were changing as well. They'll shoot it deep into the zone. In goes Robertson after the puck taken to the boards. McMahon couldn't get it back to the blue line. Chicago breaking it out at center ice. Brought in by Mikheyev. Ilya Mikheyev, the former Leaf, getting it back to the point. Gets it back on the boards. Had it knocked off his stick, and the Leafs play it out at center. Domi racing after it, but won't reach it ahead of Connor Murphy. But now an errant pass gobbled up by Toronto. Trying to flip it in front of the net was McMahon. It goes to Domi on the near boards. Domi back for Bobby McMahon. McMahon protecting it up against the wall, but pinned there. Got it back to Domi. No look there to get to the front of the net. Played it back to the goal. And the Blackhawks have it there and play it out into the center ice area. Karavainen to the line and in slowly. Stopping up. Sends a shot high and wide of the Leaf goal. Bertuzzi up against the boards in the near corner. Leafs 4 and the Blackhawks 2. 6 minutes to play in the third. Leafs trying to start this road trip off on the right track. They had a pretty good Western swing until the final game in Vancouver. So they have played well on the road. They are 14-9-2 at this point. Brought in by Kurashev. Hawks get it around back of the net. McCabe knocked his man down. The Leafs can't get the puck up the boards, but they'd find Marner. Marner's pass was fanned on. Hawks get it back to the point. Seth Jones closing, and the shot was well wide, and it caroms off the end boards, and it's all the way down into Chicago territory. 2-goal lead. We'll see if Anders Sorensen decides to pull goaltender Soderblom a little earlier. Now the Leafs turn it back, a pass in front of the net for Nyes, deflects into the screen and goes out of play. The Leafs have opened up a 2-goal lead for the second time in the hockey game. Chris Tanev from McCabe and David Camp. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The all-electric Honda Prologue SUV is here at your local Ontario Honda dealer. And with features perfect for the city and the backcountry, like all-wheel drive for tougher winter roads and a range up to 450 kilometers on a full charge, you may think Honda made an electric SUV just for Ontario. Get up to a $12,000 Honda bonus on all remaining 2024 Prologue models. Plus, qualified Honda owners get an additional $2,000 loyalty bonus. OAC conditions apply. Range based on combined city and highway. Bonus available when you lease or finance through HFS at a standard rate. See HondaOntario.com.
Over to our sideline reporter now with and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
The Subaru winter has arrived. The crisp air and negative temperatures mean one thing: camping. Emerge from your icy tent and bask in 4 to 6 hours of sunlight. Enjoy the unmistakable smell of campfire through the glacial wind pummeling your face. Relax by the water, taking in the soothing sounds of thick ice cracking and popping. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
He's breaking out and scores!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Maple Leafs with a 4-2 lead on the Chicago Blackhawks. Nick Robertson with a pair of goals. Jake McCabe and Chris Tanev scoring for Toronto in this one. And the big boys are completely off the sheet.
Yes. Well, even when you look at last night.
Backhand here is backhanded off a body in front of the Chicago goal.
You did have Tavares scoring, and you had Matthews into the empty net, but Holmberg, Kemp, Steves.
Pass knocked down into the Chicago end. Under 5 minutes to play now. Played off the boards to the line and down into the center ice area. Blackhawks, Mikheyev getting the puck. Got it ahead. Mikheyev able to carry in over the line. Right wing side. A shot. Big save made there by Wall. Played around the boards. The Leafs are going to get to the line but not get it out. Hawks keep it alive. Then turn it over and it comes out into the center ice area. You can't see the Chicago net. We're assuming that the goaltender is still in there with 4:22 to go. Last night, Rod Brindamore took him out with 6 minutes left in the third period and an icing call here.
But a 5-on-4 at the time. It was 4-on-4, so it worked out to be a free power play for the Carolina Hurricanes. Max Domi's had a pretty impressive night, too. He does fall after he set up Robertson second of the night. He does fall in his own end when the Blackhawks are able to respond, and goalie coming now.
Yeah. Hawks bench was waving.
Former Leaf Derek King.
Yeah.
Still an assistant coach with the Hawks.
Face-off will be in the Toronto zone. 6 attackers here for the Blackhawks. And the Leafs win the draw. Riley steps around back of the net, banks it ahead, and it's deflected down into the Chicago zone. Robertson racing after it. He's out there hoping for maybe an empty netter for his first ever hat trick, but I think he's gone to the bench. Yes, he has. Hawks breaking out of their own end. Left wing side, Teravainen. Bertuzzi sends it high into the far corner. McCabe knocked down on the play. Tanev got it back to the point, a shot, and that deflected just wide. Kept in at the far point by Chicago. Back in around back of the net. Banging in there is McCabe. Puck comes free for the near boards, but it comes back to Teravainen at the point. A shot that's blocked. Rebound in front. A shot taken by Bedard, deflected over top of the goal. Bertuzzi keeping it in to Bedard on the left wing side. Bedard holds back to the point. Fed off on the far side. A shot blocked in front of the goal. They got it freed up. Played to the line, but not out. And kept alive by Chicago. Too many passes for the Maple Leafs there. Played on the boards and high. Volleyball down. Cleared to the line, but not out. Bedard keeping it in. Saucers it off to the far side. Back it goes to Seth Jones. Jones gets it returned. He looks for Bedard and finds him. Bedard on the left wing. Works into the corner. Bedard still with it. A centering pass in front and a shot. Swallowed up by Joseph Wall. And he will hold with 2:50 to play in the third period. The Leafs hanging on to a 2-goal lead.
Well, you don't want to ice the puck, but I think they were trying to get a little too creative in setting up an opportunity for the empty net goal. And that was what Matthews denies. Try to get the puck out and make these little 5-foot passes instead of just trying to chip it out to the middle of the ice.
And we've got a television timeout, I guess, so we'll step aside. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Turn down the noise and fall asleep faster. Drift off to indie sleep. Got the music in your favorite sounding well. A channel that wraps you in an atmospheric mix of hushed indie sounds, dream pop, and instrumentals. Find Indie Sleep and a collection of other calming channels and podcasts in the Sirius XM app. Just search Sleep.
Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
Playing in the Four Nations face-off for Team USA, Connor Hellebuck.
How do you feel about getting a chance to play for USA?
Hey, you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for the Leafs game. Now that we've got your attention, Tom has something to say.
Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell for some notifications for all the streams that we have on TSI.
You know it. If it's a Toronto sports game, we're live. The Maple Leafs, the Raptors,
Radio,
the Argos,
SiriusXM
TFC,
91, and on your
Blue Jays all
schedule with
summer
the
long.
SiriusXM
Thank you
app.
so much for becoming an
world's
insider
most
and hitting
thrilling
that
league is
subscribe
now
button.
in the
Now
palm
let's
of your
get back
hand.
to the
Hit
hockey. Go
every
Leafs,
English
go!
Premier League match all season long on the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favorite team.
Work.
Playback underway. The Leafs get it down into the Chicago zone. And the Hawks go back with 2:39 to go. Net empty and 6 attackers on the ice. TV timeout helping the Hawks here without having to call a timeout. And I think we've got whistle here.
I don't know if that's an offside, maybe coming in.
Looks like.
At least they're going to get a line change in.
And the goaltender is going back into the net with the face-off in neutral ice. 2:29 to play in the third period. Blackhawks at home are 11-14-3 this season. Leafs win the face-off, and they'd like it down into the Chicago end, but unfortunately, an errant pass is going to provide the Blackhawks with exactly what they want. Face-off in the Leaf zone on the icing, and the 6 attacker coming over the boards.
Leafs have won 61% of the draws so far tonight, and if Matthews is going to take it, he's won 8 of 15. John Tavares has won 9 of 14. Max Domi has won 7 of 9. He's had a pretty good night.
Yes, he has.
Couple of assists.
The draw is controlled by Chicago, and they'll get it back to the blue line. Bedard works to the near half boards, looks in front, still has it. Bedard circles, top of the circle, it goes to the point, unable to shoot it. Back to Bedard on the left wing. He'll go to the far point. Back it comes to Jones. Jones works to the right wing side, back to Bedard. Here's the one-timer, and there is no traffic in front of the net, and Wall had absolutely no problem taking that on the chest and holding on.
And even Tyler Bertuzzi was kind of off to the side, wasn't he? Usually he's right there to take the eyes away, although Oliver Ekman-Larsson did a pretty good job of boxing Bertuzzi out.
Minute 59 to go in the third. Draw to the right in the Toronto zone. Donato won the faceoff so cleanly it went all the way back. No, I guess it wasn't a win. It was Nylander slashing it down the ice. I thought he won the draw, but it's an icing call as Willie missed the net. Boy, I didn't see that. Did you?
On the delayed monitor, yeah.
Played to the near boards. Nylander doesn't get it out. Jones to the far side. Shot blocked. It comes to Nylander. He'll get it out into neutral ice. Trying to one-hand it in over the line. He does to Tavares, and it bounced off of John's stick. Tavares steals it back. Works it back in over the line. Dropping for Nylander. Nylander centering pass. They score. Pontus Holmberg is going to get another empty netter. And the Maple Leafs will ice this one with a 5-2 lead.
Well, I thought that was real close to being offside too, Joe. As Nylander turned back into the Chicago zone, and I think that's exactly what the Blackhawks are looking at right now. I think they're going to do. I think they're going to challenge. Yeah, John Tavares brought it in,
offside.
and Willie Nylander had not yet cleared the zone. So this is going to come back with 132.
Oh, it's not even close. You're right. So the Hawks will win this challenge. No question.
Pontus Holmberg was looking for his second empty netter. This one, I mean, he didn't even shoot. It went off his skate. And in. There's still some work to do for the Leafs here to get this victory out of Chicago. Until the Leafs beat Chicago in December earlier this season, they'd lost 3 in a row to the Blackhawks. Despite where these teams have been over the last few years, the Chicago-Toronto game has not been easy for the Maple Leafs.
This review has not started yet, but it had not going to take very long.
No, even in the last 14 games, coming into this one, the Leafs were 7-7. They had lost 3, won 3, lost 3, won 3, and then lost to Vancouver and win against Carolina. So I guess if you say if this is your toughest or worst stretch of the season, you'll take it, won't you?
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. I guess if you're the linesman as well, if you think it's close, you might as well let it go, right?
Yeah. Killen McNamara was waving it off that it was onside, but it definitely was offside by 2 feet.
Yeah, he may not have seen the puck over the line, right? Because
Maybe
he had
not.
a couple of players.
Yeah, there was a couple of players there.
Donato,
yep. I'm surprised it's taking this long. I mean, all you have to see it is the one time. It's no question it's offside. What, the boys in Toronto taking the day off or something? What's going on here? Come on, lads. Let's get this one over. The Don Valley Parkway is cleared. We can get home at a reasonable hour here. They're still looking at this. Oh, my God.
Somebody's got to be checking the rule book, right?
What is offside? Yeah, this is tricky.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're having some sort of video problem where they're not getting the video in the penalty box. Oh, no, it looks like everything's working. We got a view of them looking at the
This is
coach.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
The Chicago coaching staff seems to be saying the same thing, like, come on.
Come on, lads, pick it up here. Oh, it's offside by 2 feet. It's not even remotely close.
I think Jordan Bean and Sam Kim might be roiling down saying, guys, it's offside.
It's offside.
We know that.
We know that. Yeah, it's okay. Let's move on. Let's press on from it here.
Yeah, the Leaf video guys know it. I mean,
I can't believe this is taking so long.
We're watching.
Tavares has the puck 3 feet over the blue line.
Okay, I'm going to get the rule book out. maybe if there was an intent.
Either the rules have changed dramatically in the last minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. But this is intolerable. It's offside by 2 feet. It's not even remotely close.
Yeah, puck comes over the line, Nylander's trap, and Tavares tight turns to bring it back into the Chicago zone before Willie Nylander. I mean, he's at least a foot and a half inside the blue line when Tavares comes back in. Unless they're not trying to say it went off a Chicago player. No, Tavares does touch it, right?
Yeah.
After Chicago's coach's challenge, the play was deemed to be onside. Therefore, it is a good goal. Chicago's been charged for a minor penalty for delay of game.
Whoa. Am I missing something here? I got to be. Did Tavares keep the puck along the blue line?
No. No, the only thing I can look at it again, did it go off a Chicago player and Tavares just turned and sort of sheltered it to go back in? The reaction in Chicago seems to be the same thing.
Oh, I want to see this again. I don't believe it. I really do not believe this. I hope they'll show it again, and it becomes a penalty here. So the Leafs power play is going to go a minute 32 here. Wow, that is bizarre. And I've got to be, well, maybe check your phone, because sometimes the league sends out.
I mean, the other side is, are they saying that Tavares, I mean, he doesn't touch it, so he doesn't have control over it?
I don't, yeah. I mean, we're watching him bring it in, and Nylander is at least a foot and a half offside.
But now, is the ruling that Tavares doesn't touch it again over the line until Nylander had already cleared, right? I mean, is that the only stipulation, that it stays onside?
I guess. Well, the Leafs will take it, and they'll get it, and Robertson sends it down into the Chicago zone. My goodness.
So maybe, that's got to be it.
It must
got to be it that Tavares did not touch the puck inside the zone until Nylander cleared.
Played in on the right wing. It goes to Riley. His backhand goes over top. The final minute of play. And the Hawks will get it out into the center ice area. And brought in on the left wing by Mikheyev. And a sharp angle shot goes high and into the corner. 31 shots for Toronto, 27 for the Blackhawks. Played in over the line on the left wing. Domi trying to get to it. They battle for it against the boards. It comes back and out into the center ice area. And I can hardly wait to hear what that explanation was.
To me, that's the only thing.
It's the only thing I can, I guess.
Where they're saying that basically because Tavares did not play the puck inside the line. So they're saying he didn't have control of it, right? He just sort of slid it in, waited for Nylander to clear, and then touched it.
Final seconds ticking down. The Leafs will take it. And they're going to escape with a 5-2 victory here. And Joseph Woll is going to pick up his 20th win of the season. And his goals against average will shrink and his save percentage will escalate. Nick Robertson with a pair of goals. And so let's go to our 3 stars brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Get home ice advantage on every drive with the new Civic Hybrid, proudly made in Ontario. Available now at your Ontario Honda dealers.
They're saying that it's the first Leaf win in regulation in Chicago since 2003. Won some overtime games in there.
Just one a year, so yeah. That's kind of bizarre, right? Yeah.
All right, third star, I'm going to go Jake McCabe. It was going to be between McCabe and Chris Tanev. So they both scored, and I thought, I'm going to go with the guy that's got the most blocked shots. McCabe had 3, Tanev had 1. So my apologies to Chris Tanev. Second goal of the year for Tanev as well. But McCabe star number 3. Max Domi does get caught out, sort of spins out on the Chicago goal late in the second period, but not until he had already set up Nick Robertson in a couple of great opportunities. And Nick Robertson, a 2-goal game for the Leafs. Joseph Woll, honorable mention, wasn't forced to be spectacular at any time, but never gave up the soft goal that would allow the Chicago Blackhawks back into the game. So honorable mention to both Chris Tanev and Joseph Woll in the 3-star selection.
But again, it's a game where the understudies are the stars of the game, really, and the reason for the victory.
Yeah, so let's not say, hey, Matthews only has an empty netter in his last 7 games now, and Marner's only got 2 in his last 16 games, and now Willie hasn't scored since, what was it, his 3-goal game in Calgary? No, because then we'd be bitching about they don't have secondary scoring. Enjoy the secondary scoring. The big boys will be on the board soon.
We'll ship it off to Eilish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert with an invitation to join us on Tuesday night. Right back here on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. 7 o'clock start when the Leafs are in Boston to tangle with the Bruins. You've been listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Cheers, Insiders! Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Another great night here on TSI, where we hang out every single Maple Leafs game and chat it up. Cheer on our Maple Leafs. Lots of fun in the chat. I will let the post-game run as always.
Until that Frank guy comes on.
Yep, until my buddy Frank Trachtenberg comes on to let us know the schedule for all the games this evening. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. Now go Leafs go, and we'll see you back in the chat. Enjoy the postgame.
At least for 10 games, we're more than competitive, and we're probably going to win much more than we lose.
Coaches are probably yelling an expletive, right? About whatever how that particular trend is going. So you're right. So far, it's like perfect.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
Playing in the Four Nations face-off for Team USA, Connor Hellebuck.
How do you feel about getting a chance to play for USA?
The type of hockey it's going to be fun. There's going to be some high-pressure games. You're going to be putting your country's jersey on. You're representing your country. I think we're going to have a great fan base around us, and I'm really looking forward to what it brings.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Avalanche General Manager Chris McFarland. What went in to maybe change that duo in goal?
With the work of our scout, Wedgwood's experience, he was a veteran guy, he's been through the grind. We were very bullish on McKenzie, and when the opportunity came to add him, we just felt it was the right move for us, long term.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
Devils head coach Sheldon Keefe, you decided to jump right back into it.
New Jersey Devils reached out really within an hour or so of the news coming out of me being let go. And the more I got to know Tom and his vision for the team and seeing the situation, it was a tremendous opportunity that I couldn't let pass by.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Feel the excitement of the UEFA Champions League knockout stage on Sirius XM FC. Europe's best clubs.
What a start for Inter! And Barca are level! Brilliant Arsenal goal!
The world's brightest stars.
Mbappe! Kane! Salah to score!
All chasing club soccer's ultimate prize.
A new page in their glorious history!
The Champions League knockout stage, where legends are made. On Sirius XM FC, channel 157 in the car, and the Sirius XM app.
Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Network Leafs hold on and win 5-2 against the Chicago Blackhawks. Their first regulation win in Chicago since 2003. That's a very long time. First regulation win there since 2003. So good to get that one under the belt.
Yeah, and good to be back in first place in the Atlantic Division. The Maple Leafs still have a game in hand, but leapfrog the Florida Panthers anyway. So sitting atop with 72 points. Panthers with 71. Sneaky, the Tampa Bay Lightning with 68 and a game in hand on the Maple Leafs right now. So the race isn't over, but with Kachuck maybe hurting, the Maple Leafs getting 2 wins this weekend. They're in a good position right now for the stretch drive.
All right, let's take a final look at the NHL scoreboard presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit ConnexOntario.ca.
Alexander Ovechkin scored a hat trick, and the Capitals beat up on the Oilers 7-3. It's been a good 24 hours for them. Rangers 5-3 winners over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Red Wings got a 5-4 overtime victory over the Anaheim Ducks. Devils blanked the Predators 5-0. Blues 3-1 over the Avalanche. Lightning, aforementioned, 4-1 over the Kraken. And the Stars leading the Islanders 4-2 in the middle of the third period. Second periods in the 2 late games. Sharks trailing the Flames 2-1, and it's 1-1 Canucks in Utah.
All right, this could have been wrapped up 10 minutes ago, not for a very detailed goal review, which we find out was accurate.
The NHL, when it takes long, tends to get it right, I suppose.
Okay. Our next Sportsnet 590 The Fan Molson Leafs hockey broadcast is in 2 days. It's Tuesday night versus the Boston Bruins. We will be on the air at 6:30 with the pregame show. Leafs Talk with JD Bunkus and Sam McKee is next. Thanks for listening to Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Leafs Talk, JD Bunkus, Sam McKee. Leafs get a very, very, very rare W in Illinois. They beat the Chicago Blackhawks 5-2. I was completely unaware that the Leafs hadn't had a regulation win there since 2003. Were you? Like, did you know that stat?
I feel like that's one that comes around every year that I always forget about. And it feels weird because the Leafs have won there a few times, like recently. Like they won that one where the double with Patty Kane with Austin Matthews doing the thing to the crowd where he had his hand up to his ear, and then they had the season-saving win where if they had lost to that in the alternative universe, it wouldn't have made the playoffs. When David Camp scored 2 goals, Willie scored in overtime. So like they've had some good memories there over the last little while.
The first Camp game where we were like, oh my God, this guy's hard down specialist.
Yeah, he had like a really nice backhand goal in that third period, if I remember correctly. And it's so pathetic that I can remember that and not other things in my life. But go ahead.
You want an even more pathetic memory of a Chicago win? An overtime win was that was a Garrett Sparks referendum game. He let in, I think, 5 goals, and then he was like, I think I did pretty great. And we were all like, oh, Cam Ward was in net for the Blackhawks that night. So all I remember was he was so proud of himself after letting in 5 stinkers, and there was this whole McElhaney Sparks debate, and I was on the wrong side of history on that one. I was team Sparks. Got to go with the young guy.
I think Sparks, he's still playing. Maybe like in the Vegas system, maybe. Anyways, that's not what we need to spend time talking about.
Hey, listen, that's what people come here for. Is sometimes there's a little bit of leafy memories.
Sparks he's just quite a looking. He's playing for the Wheeling Nailers in the ECHL. Played 5 games this year. He's got a 4 goals against and an 8.43 save. Had a tough year for the Nailers.
And I thought he was the future of the organization at one point.
Hey man, first goalie in Leafs history to have a shutout in their debut.
Yeah,
that's a pretty cool stat.
That's something. Hey, you can't take that one off the board.
No, you cannot.
Okay, so the Leafs, they win tonight, and I think that there's a couple pretty salient talking points, but we got to start with the third line.
I thought you wanted to start with the most confusing and long offside review on a 4-2 goal in hockey history, on a meaningless goal.
All right, let's just get that out of the way then, because I'll tell you this. For it to go that long is completely unacceptable.
Criminal.
But also, for that to be offside, like good on Mike Johnson, who knew the rule.
Nailed it.
Crushed it right away, because I was like, you and I both take like, oh, offside. I'll tell you right now, that is the most against the spirit of the rule thing that has ever happened in the history of sports. Like, if that's not offside, like, again, this is worse than is it a catch?
Yeah, there haven't been many against the spirit of the rule things like that, and a lot like that is as big as it gets. And it's just the thing that it highlights for me is that we got to shorten up these reviews or find some, like, next year, there's got to be how long for you? A minute?
No, you get more than a minute, because sometimes because they don't get all the camera feeds in right away, right? And they've got to be able to look at them and slow them down. I would say 2 minutes is the max. That's what I would set it at. I think 2 minutes is fair. Get it in, get it done. And if you can't get it in 2 minutes, then it's over. Well, it just, to me, it's like once it passes 2 minutes, like it's irrefutable to me, or irreversible, or whatever the word is that I'm supposed to know here.
If you're watching on YouTube, I've just watched hockey my whole life. It's offside. It's the most offside thing I've ever seen. It's like,
brother, he's offside. Got 2 feet in the white. As the puck crosses. It's not even like a fringy borderline one. I actually thought that because of the spirit of the rule and it was inconclusive, that the refs were just going to go like, but come on.
Yeah, exactly. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Anyways, so there you go. They salted away. Good for them. Yeah. They get the Pontus Holmberg lighting it up on the empty net in the last couple of games. So good for him.
Well, actually, since we started here, which I'm a little surprised by, I thought this was going to be a rapid fire topic. What do you make? Like, I was like, you're dying to get this one off your chest from this game. Poor Nick Robertson scores 2 goals. Domi finally contributes, and you're like, what about the rules? How did you feel about that stat too, that the Leafs have given up the most empty net goals against in the NHL? Because I'm of 2 minds with it.
The 2 minds would be one, that they're in the position to defend 6-on-5 a lot, which means they're leading a lot of games. But the other side that you're probably thinking is that's not the stat that you want to be bad at, because if you're leading a lot of games, it's a really important thing. And the Leafs used to be a really good 6-on-5 the other way. I don't know what their stats used to be. I don't know if that's a thing that's followed them throughout this era, or that's a Berube thing, or I don't know what it is, but it's not a stat I love, especially come playoff time. So those are your 2 minds. I read your mind tonight. I had your
kind of.
Okay.
You kind of read it. So it's not a great stat, but I will say this. I think it's actually a pretty explainable stat. So the Leafs haven't blown any leads still this season, right? Like they don't blow leads. They don't cough it up when it matters. But I think that what ends up happening with them is something that we've seen the last couple of nights, which is they get pretty horned up with the net wide open, right? Like they start to get pretty aggressive. They got a couple of guys on their team that enjoy the cookies, and who could blame them, because cookies are delicious. But I think that before that final one, like before it's actually a 1-goal game, they play pretty loose, and they're cookie hunting a lot of times rather than just like knuckling down, trying to kill pucks, putting it into the boards, and just saying like eat clock. I think they love scoring empty net goals, and their aggression bites them in the ass at times. But to their credit, they haven't lost those games. And so I don't really think it's a major issue. I actually don't think it's something that's going to carry over the playoffs, because come that time, I'm hoping that they will treat it a little bit more seriously, and that those habits are regular season habits. Fair?
Yeah, very fair. And I mean, it's definitely game 57 against the crappy Blackhawks hunting for cookies. You'll let it go a little bit here. I think you'll allow it. But it's good. It's a good thought, but they lead a lot. So it's good that they have that situation. Anyways.
Yeah. 100%. All right.
Max Domi time. We were just beating back the praise of Max Domi by talking about the rules in 6-on-5.
Well, I got to tell you, Max Domi, beautiful play after the power, or like at the very end of the power play. Good forecheck by Bobby McMahon. Like you and I talked in the first last game about how that line has been invisible when the three of them were put together. And listen, it's a game against the Chicago Blackhawks, and it's kind of hard to blow this one completely out of proportion. So if you just want to localize it to this game, I thought it was a needed performance for those guys. Robertson ends up hitting double digits in goals. Good for him, because I wrote it down actually before this game even started, funny enough. Robertson now, I think, has played in 135 games in his career, 136, and he now has 27 goals. And so I do think that this is a bit of a prove it period for him to be able to put a couple pucks in the back of the net. But yeah, I think that these two goals are largely created by Max Domi, who absolutely was dying to get off the schneid in some kind of way. Beautiful vision on the first one on the power play, and then great hustle on the second one. Still not exactly sure how Nick Robertson ends up being this wide open at the end of the period. But also so funny that it's like you get this moment. I tweet about it, and then a second later, Domi is just completely swimming.
Yeah, swimming.
Trying desperately to just get a piece of a puck, and the Chicago makes it 3-2. And you go, that's what you get, Brube, for rewarding them and letting them try to close out a period. You give up a bad goal. But overall, a pretty awesome night for those guys. I thought they were buzzing for the vast majority of it. They were creating plays. They felt like they had a ton of ice. And I do think that a byproduct of that was, Chicago was a little bit on their heels when they were out there. But good night for the third line. Toronto needed it tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I think, this will kind of lend itself into a conversation about the Stars after this. But we talked last night about the secondary scoring and the contributions from the bottom half of the lineup. You get 2 goals from defensemen tonight. You get 2 goals from this line tonight. You need this. This is what you need on, like I said, game 57 against the AHL competition Blackhawks. You need the guys at the bottom half of your lineup to contribute and to look good. And like other teams get this like all the time. It's like, so it's like you look around the league, there's other teams that third lines do this every night, where they like, not every night, but they're giving good contributions. They're playing well, they're noticeable. So it's really good for when the Leafs Stars come back from the Four Nations, and specifically Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, who I don't think either have looked very full of life, will I say, through the 2 games this weekend. You needed this contribution. And I felt like Domi, McMahon, and Robertson from the start of the game were really engaged, really dangerous, like you said, and just skating by. I mean, how about Seth Jones there? Has the head start on Domi, and Domi just barbecues him. It's like, yeah, I bet you want to trade out of here, but like, who's going to take you, brother? Sorry, but like, holy smokes. He makes $9.5 million. Anyways, I was just really impressed with them, and who cares who you're playing against? You need to have, they've had lots of bad nights against lots of bad teams. So good for Domi to really contribute tonight. Maybe that can get him going a bit, because boy, they could use his offensive chip in here, because he makes, the most outside the core 4 for forwards. So they need it from him, and he looked good. So kudos to him.
quick Seth Jones aside, you and I were both just massive fans of him. Do you remember the last year in Columbus?
Loved him.
Yeah. Like the last year in Columbus, and then when they traded him, we were like, I can't believe that this guy who a year ago we thought was going to be like one of the future stars of the game is in Chicago now. And has just been a total bust for them. Like,
man, the rare lose trade.
Yeah.
Who did they trade? No, never mind. I got that wrong. I thought that was they traded him from Nashville for Ryan Johansson. I was thinking it was Chicago from Ryan Johansson. I forget who they traded. Was it Boakfist and something maybe? I can't remember exactly what the trade was. But anyways,
just has been an absolute zero for them. And you're right. Like if he's on the block and he wants out of there, he wants to go to contender. He's the kind of guy that I'm sure does go to a contender and finds his game again. Like that would be my guess. But
Kipper was mentioning Dallas for him on the show on Friday, and I'm like, God, that does make sense. Where he'd go there and just be sick for Dallas. You could see that happening 100%.
Yes. But how much money are you going to get them to eat? Because him on his current deal, even with the cap going up, you can't even take that risk. Anyways, back to the Domi thing. So I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to blow this out of proportion because again, the Blackhawks are god awful. And a couple of those plays, again, credit to Domi tonight. They needed to have it. Just the bigger takeaway for me is kind of what you said there, which is the Leafs are a super top heavy team, just an incredibly top heavy team. They get all their scoring from their top 5 guys. And every once in a while, and especially on a back-to-back, when those guys are coming back from the Four Nations and they've probably got extremely heavy legs flying into Chicago, Matthews and Marner just played one of the most intense games of their lives. They didn't have it fully tonight. And those guys picked them up and they gave them some offense. The blue line picked them up, right? Tanev scores 1, McCabe scores 1. And just every once in a while, you just need to be able to do that with this team. And if you're going to finish first, if you're going to pass Florida,
which they did today, by the way, they're back in first.
There's going to be a couple more of these ones, right? Where you're not leaning on those top guys and you actually feel like you have a chance to win, because the formula so far this season has been, if the top guys aren't scoring, you got to win 1-0 essentially, right? You got to get spectacular goaltending. And tonight they let in a couple, they're trailing in the game, and the third line and that blue line picked them up. So good for them.
Yep, absolutely. And you mentioned Chris Tanev scored tonight, and watching him play, there's been a lot of talk about best on best and how much better that hockey was and all the different stuff going into watching these games. Chris Tanev is a guy to me that could have played in those games. I just watched him play tonight. He is so steady. He is such a stud. I can't believe what this guy has meant to this team. I was so excited that they got him. We famously did a podcast last year where I cried for 25 minutes because we just didn't get him. I've loved this guy for a long time, but he's even exceeded my expectations in terms of how good he still is. You had the worries in the back of your mind of his age and, the injury stuff and just all the obvious worries, but they have just gotten, what's he making now? 4.5 this year for the contract? Is that what it is?
I think it's a little over that. I think it's closer to 5, but you could be
whatever
right.
Whatever it is, they're just getting such incredible value on it. And he's just the way he stops cycles and little breakout moves that he makes. It's not even these long stretch breakout passes, but these little interceptions, these little area passes. It's just, he is so steady. And that's if we're looking ahead to the playoffs, I know we don't want to do that. We're just talking about tonight, but it is, thanks Brandon. It is 4.5 as his cap hit. So that's
6 years, 4.5.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to talk about the year 4, 5, and 6 about that right now. But going into the playoffs, what gives you hope about this being any different is him and McCabe and the goalies, right? He is a true difference maker. And you love to see a guy like that get a cookie here and there. He never gets them. He never really overdoes it. And he gets an ugly one, trickles into the net, and you get to put a goal in the goal column for Chris Tanev. He was awesome tonight again. He was awesome in both games.
And to the contract point though, because it is 6 years, I'll just say this is you are getting crazy value for him on the front end. So even if it hurts the last couple of years, Chris Tanev at 4.5 this season is a steal. Not to, I'm sorry, I'll just do just because of a comparison. But it's look at what Morgan Riley makes versus Chris Tanev and how different this team would be with one guy versus the other, right? You're at least getting a $3 million break on this player on the front of the contract. So I just think that it's important for people to remember that when the contract starts to turn a little bit. TJ Brody was out there tonight for Chicago.
Oh my God.
Did you remember that he was on that team?
Yeah, no. And then the puck bounces off him into the net, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it was him and Mikheyev were out there, and I went, boy, I used to love you guys. And I
had some conversations about you two boys, let me tell you.
Yeah, and they're just stuck out there in no man's land. God, Chicago is just depressing, dude. For them to turn this thing around is going to take some real time.
I have some thought on that quickly, but just the top pair for the Leafs tonight, Tanev and McCabe, both the 4 points combined, +6 combined, 6 shots block combined between the two of them. 21-49 for McCabe, 20-33. Like, there's just a real NHL shutdown top pair. And they're just awesome tonight. So
before we move to your Chicago thought, I do want to kind of close with the Leafs performance though tonight, which is okay. So I asked the guys to clip this for me, but the Leafs played a horrific first period. Like,
so bad.
It was dog's breakfast. They were lucky to only be down 1-0. Tanev actually takes the cross check at the end of the period. And Chicago scores a goal that is like a really actually nice play, but a bit of a lucky play for Bertuzzi, where puck kind of bounces to him. He kind of chops at it, lands right on Teravainen's stick. It's 1-0. I'm starting to think, God, this is going to be one of those games, right? Like Chicago might beat the Leafs 4-0 tonight. Like, that's kind of the game
like that.
Yeah, like that's the way that I was feeling. They scored just a late period goal after dominating, and the Leafs were kind of holding on. One goes in, and I'm thinking the start of the second period is going to be crucial for this team. And I know that some people are going to think like, hey, Matthews, Marner, and Nylander and Tavares, they weren't at their very best tonight. But I got to tell you, I'm giving a lot of credit to the captain, to Austin Matthews for the start of this period, because he comes out and he has this shift. And it actually reminded me a little bit of Four Nations, where it's like he's getting down low, he's winning puck battles, he's using his body, and then all of a sudden, like, him and Nyes are around the net and creating traffic. Marner gets that opportunity that like misses the net from the slot, but like they're down there bumping and grinding, trying to create havoc, trying to be around the net. And I went, I said on my podcast, I think on Friday, before you came on, that Matthew Nyes, I hope, watches what Brady Kachuck did in that tournament and says, boy, me and Matthews could be a real problem. Matthews is a big boy. Like, Matthews is a big man. And I kind of hope that his game, as time goes on, he starts to gravitate more towards that area of the ice. And then look what happens afterwards. The Leafs just end up caving in Chicago for, I think it was 3 or 4 straight shifts before they actually draw a penalty. And then the second unit actually gets one late on the power play and kind of breaks the game open and changes it for Toronto. So I do think that this team follows Austin Matthews' lead. I do think that he is the energizer, the tone setter, the attitude, whatever it is. And I don't think he had his legs tonight, man. How could you blame him, right? Like, Four Nations final, played last night. All these guys are banged up. They were talking about the toll on their bodies on the plane ride back, for God's sakes. I imagine they're hurting, but he gave them that spark at the beginning of that period. And I really do think that it turned the tide for Toronto.
Yeah, I think that's really well said and well pointed out. How long are we giving them here? Tuesday night? Is you expecting back to full speed here in terms of like how long they're getting back into the swing after that Four Nations?
I actually think that Tuesday is going to be a bit of a tough one too. Like, that's 3 games in 4 nights. Yeah. So like, I don't know. It's a bit of a tough schedule, man. This is kind of why, like, when we're talking about those secondary scorers, this is a moment. This is an opportunity for them, because I think those guys have to know that they don't have the trust of the coaching staff, that their big dogs are probably going to be a little bit worn out here ahead of the deadline, and that jobs are on the line. Like, if you're Nick Robertson and Alex Steves puts one in the net, you better go out and respond with some goals of your own, because again, like 10 goals on the season, it's like, it looks fine-ish in the context of this team.
It's crazy when that's that high. I'm surprised he's that high at 10.
Well, the thing is though, is like, it comes in multi-goal games, but it's been in some spots where it hasn't been of like the greatest import. And like, if you're the Leafs, you got to be thinking with players like that, are you going to get goals like the second one? Like where Domi wins that puck, or that race against Seth Jones. Are you going to get goals like that?
The third one. Yeah.
Are you going to get goals like that in the playoffs? Right? Like, are you going to be able to create those opportunities? So to me, it's like they've got to show quite a bit of consistency to try to earn the trust of this coaching staff. I think they're short on centerman, but I do think that it's kind of an indictment that like Holmberg gets the bump up to the second line over Max Domi.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's about like trusting Max and trying to find something with that group. I think that's like, we still don't even want you up here.
I think there's a pretty clear, maybe not, I'm not reporting anything, but if you're just watching the way Max Domi's been used this year, you know, him and Berube maybe not the best of friends in terms of what they think their role is to each other.
He never buries them though.
Never does. It's not like, but I just mean, you just watch the way he uses them. He's underused compared to what he was last year with Keefe. Blackhawks.
Yeah, sure. I'm ready to go into kind of like rapid fire. Like I will say too, Domi hit that crossbar where it's like, God, if that one goes in, he's like really feling good. What?
And I was texting you, Gord Miller almost had like the best call ever there. Yeah. He was talking about the last time that they won in Chicago. Yeah. And he was going through all the people that played. Belfour was in net for the Leafs, all this stuff. And he's like, and Ty Domi had a goal in that game. Yeah. And here comes Max. And like literally as it was rolling off his tongue, he rings it off the bar. He was so close. That was crazy. But yeah, how long until the Blackhawks are half decent? Like what's the plan? They got nobody. I just like that Kurashev they were talking about. He's -75 or -74 in the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. Bedard doesn't look very good. He's not playing with anybody good. He's like clearly getting losing habits where he's taking too long as shifts. He's not like getting the puck in deep. He's not playing. Like I don't know what the hell they're doing, but it's going to be a long, long time before they're even half decent.
So
they stink.
I think there's a couple things here. One, I'm not a big farm system guy, so like I'm not fully up to date with what they've got going on underneath.
I'm sure they got prospects. They've sucked for a while. They've got to have some. That Nazar they like. That Frank Nazar they like.
Yeah, but they don't have like other guys that it's like, oh my God, they're just so loaded and wait until you see next year, right? Like,
yeah.
It's not a situation like that. I'm not going to profess to be, Corey Pronman or Sam Cosentino out here.
I didn't realize that. -3 for Bedard tonight. I didn't realize that.
That's kind of where I'm going with this, though. It's like there was reporting earlier this year that Bedard's already a little frustrated with what's going on here. And it's not like he's really helping things because he's been pretty awful. Like the panel did is this guy going to be on Team Canada next year? And I'm like, the only case for it right now is that it's the bigger ice surface. And
no shot, buddy.
But my counter to it was like, I can't believe no one brought this up when they were talking about it. Could you have imagined he was in that game?
Oh, no. No.
Yeah.
No. We've seen what it looks like. That's the thing. It's like, it's been so long since we've seen it. And I'm just watching these guys. I'm like, there's no way Connor Bedard plays over 3 minutes in that hockey game.
No. In fact, it's like, looking back on it and where he is now, it's one of the most ridiculous conversations we had all year long. Yes. Like, is he on the team? It's like, buddy, there's 7-8 guys that are ahead of him right now. Easily. Konechny
couldn't play in the game. Marchand played 11 minutes. It's like these guys are studs. Like,
I'm just saying, think about some of the guys they left off, but even think about some of the other young guys in the league, like Fantilli or like, it's just like, there's so many. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like he's just, I like he's obviously not a bust. You're going to give him time, but next year for him is already just a crucial year. He's got a ton of points for a guy like that was still a teenager, and like you can look at the numbers. There's a lot of them that are still pretty positive with him, but I just watching him play, he's just there's not a lot of encouraging signs there for me whenever I do tune in to see Connor Bedard play hockey.
Sure, like he's got points, but like somebody's got to score.
Somebody's got to score, and it's like 20 minutes of ice time.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody's got to shoot in the net. So he's my boy. I loved him in junior. I professed my love for my city. He's going to score 50 goals in his rookie season. Mm-hmm. I'm really, really hoping my Bedard takes turn. But
everybody hopes they turn. Nobody's rooting against them.
I mean, the thing is it's now that we have best on best every 2 years. And we need these guys. We've seen the way the juniors have looked for like the way the juniors have looked for 3 years now, that's who grows into playing in the games we watched in the weekend.
Yeah.
So we need those guys to kind of start being good, and he's part of that. So we need him. We need him.
Though. But there are other.
We got Gavin McKenna. So we're fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm calling him Northern McDavid.
Buddy, the pass he made today. Go on Twitter if you're watching this, and go to the Medicine Hat Tigers Twitter feed. I wanted to find I was digging hard for the pass that McDavid made. McDavid made the exact same play. I forget. Maybe he passed it to Duncan Keith, I want to say, which is crazy that I remember that. Or somebody. Maybe he was on. Anyways, it's very, very similar play. He looks like Connor McDavid of the North, and he's your son. So
I got to tell you.
He's got no habs for him, eh, bud?
Oh, God. I actually think, like, I don't want to take this too far, but, like, I've had some tragedies in my life. And that would be like slotting right under the death tier in terms of
a lot of death talk for you last year.
I'm just saying that death tier is one. But if Gavin McKenna went to the Habs, it would be like when the Sonics left Seattle for me. Like just like it would at Seattle, like it'd be worse than the Seahawks losing the Super Bowl on the 1 yard line, not handed it to the greatest like goal line back of his generation.
The dream scenario is Sharks.
Sharks is like.
Buddy, number one dream scenario.
I got to tell you, though, there's one thing that is like a true threat to this program right now. Like if people love this show,
Sharks Talk,
is that I love my son so deeply. He has like reinvigorated my like childhood fandom in sports. Like I care so much about Gavin McKenna. I got so much stock invested in him that it's like, I kind of think the Leafs need to trade for Dylan Cousins because, like, if they don't do it, I don't know how they can keep me.
Yukon Leafs, the Yukon Leafs.
I've got this old school retro starter jacket, Sharks teal that I could throw on. I could just be that guy, like retro Sharks fits. I could just be that guy. Nightmare would be Anaheim too. Like Anaheim is just where players go to die.
Loser
like
franchise.
It is. Yeah, loser franchise. I've said it a billion times. I didn't want Bedard to go there, but now I'm like, God, Chicago's such a bad situation that maybe he would have been better off.
But maybe McKenna goes there too, and they kind of team up, and you know that's like their 1-2 punch or whatever. So maybe that. But yeah. No. Anyways, I just
Sharks are cracking is my hope.
We need Bedard to hit bad. We really do. As Canadian hockey fans, we need him to turn it around. We do. He needs to contribute to the national team, buddy. He came up all through the ranks, playing at every level, dominating at every level for Team Canada. The next step is, listen, Sid was talking about how all the guys he played with in junior are now gone, right? Like he was talking about how it's like just him and Doughty that played coming up. And then, anyways, you need it. You need him to contribute. Anyways,
I just think we've got a lot of good guys.
We do. We
got a lot of good young guys. And it's just like, I don't know, man. I just like, if I'm going to like watching, for example, like Jack Hughes at that tournament where
he's brutal.
Yeah. He's just like literally everybody at the Athletics, like he's the face of the league.
And he's going to fall over again at a big game.
Yeah. And then it's like, he plays in a big, tight Czech game. And you're like, I don't know if you're a Devils fan, how you could watch that and have like real confidance in
Sheldon keeps like, how did I do this again?
Yeah, like he's right pick where he started.
Not again.
But like, I don't know, dude. I got same vibes from Bedard where I have a tough time picturing a scenario where I'm going to look at him at the international level. I hope this gets clipped. I hope this turns into the biggest stupid idiot take ever. Yeah. I just got a tough time picturing him best on best against the Americans in a do or die game. And I'm like, get him over the boards. Like right now, anyways.
That's a fair take. No, hey, listen, right now you're right. And I'm just holding out hope on Bedard Island. That's it.
Yeah, of course. The talent's there, the skill's there. Just God, he's just in such a bad spot. And like the game and the game's getting heavier too. Like hockey's kind of getting a bit of a return to heavy play because these playoffs have kind of gone over and over this. They've done the like small skill guy, tons of small skilled defensemen that haven't really worked out. And it's like, yeah, maybe it's going to get tougher for some of the small guys. And it's not going to just turn into the, like, you know, the tiny boy league. So I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe.
All good. I'm done for tonight, bud.
Oh yeah, my last rapid fire topic was just like it's just another completely brutal night for the second or the third pairing where I was like,
oh my god,
Benoit has that huge hit on Bedard, but
hammered him.
Yeah, but other than that, it was like
they're a nightmare. They're a nightmare.
They come over and you're just sitting there staring at them like, please don't, please don't, please don't, and like I don't remember Benoit. I know we've made the like Simon Lafleur jokes, like how he likes to jump up in the rush every once in a while, but like I don't remember him making this many Dumbo plays in his own end, where it's like hunting big hits like that one, or just like poor clearing decisions. Like he ends up getting hemmed in for a shift tonight because he doesn't make like a simple clear. Like the whole premise of the Berube guys we've had is, hey, they just chop it out, right? And he's just his game is just way too cute right now. Like, I don't know. I think that neither of these guys should be on the playoff roster, and I feel like one of them, Benoit, is going to be. Which, But
like, what? I mean, where you're a one injury to the top four away from these guys playing big minutes, the depth is not there. That's why it's like, you talk about the forwards, you talk about what they need. They need a lot because like they are, and maybe somebody impactful like that Tippett Ristolainen package, not Tippett. I thought, not Tippett. What's the other guy? Lawton. I was thinking I had Tippett on my mind for some reason, but Lawton, that Lawton Ristolainen package is one you're like, well, may cost you something, but that changes the way your roster looks. And Ristolainen's not perfect, but he's a real NHL defenseman. That like that line that sort of rounds out your defensive core a little bit better. You need a real D man. You need a real.
I agree, and that trade package is just like the quintessential. Can you believe they traded for Lawton and Ristolainen and gave up this pick? Yes, and you're like, like 4 years later, you just have your head in your hands going,
no question. You are 100% correct.
Did this trade? It's just the ultimate bozo one. Like, and
totally right.
You just don't want to be the team that makes a trade worse than the Rantanen trade. Like that's.
I love you, buddy. Nice. I accept. Handshakes.
All right, let's wrap this sucker up. It's Sunday night. Let's everybody go to bed. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at JD Buckus, at Sam A. McKee. Reach out anytime. We always love hearing from you. Please share the podcast. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Subscribe, review, do those things. And I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on my show. And Sammy's got Real Kipper and Born tomorrow starting at 4 o'clock. See you then. And then we'll see you, Tuesday night? Yeah.
Tuesday against the Bees.
Tuesday against the Bruins. See you then.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
The all-electric Honda Prologue SUV is here at your local Ontario Honda dealer. And with features perfect for the city and the backcountry, like all-wheel drive for tougher winter roads and a range up to 450 kilometers on a full charge, you may think Honda made an electric SUV just for Ontario. Get up to a $12,000 Honda bonus on all remaining 2024 Prologue models. Plus, qualified Honda owners get an additional $2,000 loyalty bonus. OAC conditions apply. Range based on combined city and highway. Bonus available when you lease or finance through HFS at a standard rate. See HondaOntario.com.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists? The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need, when you need it, 24/7, 365, every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
You've been listening to NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM. Head over to SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, for the best hockey talk.
7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world. Keep it locked on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Sunday, February the 23rd. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 1 p.m., Washington Capitals take on the Edmonton Oilers. Capitals on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 950, Oilers on Internet 930.
MLB Network Radio is your home for 24/7 baseball talk, featuring on-site coverage of every major event from spring training through the World Series and expert analysis from former general managers and players. SiriusXM, Channel 89.
Former NHL head coach Iron Mike Keenan came on the morning skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick for SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, and he was asked about the long Alexei Kovalev shift during his time in New York, and he shared his side of the story about the skilled offensive talent that was Kovalev.
The Alexei Kovalev shift. I've heard 7 minutes. I've heard 9 minutes. Hey, you stay out there. You kind of figure it out. Describe to us what went into that. How long was a shift? Certainly Kovalev was a talent, that's for sure, but he was a bit of an enigma.
Super talent.
Yes.
And talented people sometimes are elusive. And Alex, I try to explain to him, you're getting 20 minutes, and I don't want the shifts to be 1 minute, so you have 20 shifts. I'm going to give you 40 shifts at 30 seconds so you can build the intensity up. Understand? Yeah, I understand, Mike. Goes out there. Of course, it's a minute and a half. I said, now, Alex, the guy that's supposed to be playing behind you just missed a shift because now we're going to the next rotation. You're out there for 2 rotations. Okay, Michael. So, again, next thing, does it again. So I said, oh, my God. So I said, okay, guys, this time when he comes back to the bench, it's now going to overextend his shift. He's going to be a little tired. Don't open the doors. He comes over and I said, get out. He thinks I love him now. Get back out there, I said. So then he comes over again. And now I said, guys, he's going to want to climb into the bench because he's done. I said, when he comes over, puts his leg up, push him back out. And they pushed him. But now they are laughing on the bench. This is in New York City. Right during the game. Back there. So Alex figures it out. He scores a goal in the middle of this shift. Wow. He gives himself a rest. Stays out there. Finishes the period. So I think it's about 9 minutes. I walk off the bench. I said, Mess, explain it to him, will you, please? He said, I will. Don't worry. I'll look after it. So as a result, we fast forward now to the playoffs in Game 6, playing New Jersey. In the Jersey series, I double shifted him. When he had to come back, and he was electrifying. Mess got the 3 goals, but Alex was a horse. And it's very talented, powerful. And the problem was he was so efficient that he could stay out, but he didn't grasp the concept of just picking up the intensity. You could see him. He could dangle and hang onto the puck, and nobody could take it from him. He was resting while he was out there. So
in essence, it was a bit of a training ground for what was to come against the Devils at the most important time.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it turned out to be a good lesson for him because that's what he did in that game. 30 seconds, 40 seconds. I just said, Alex, I'm going to double shift you. Get ready. Don't be out too long.
That was former NHL head coach Iron Mike Keenan in conversation with Gord Stellick and Scott Laughlin for the morning skate on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. That's SiriusXM Channel 91.
On the court and off, your home for the NBA is SiriusXM. Follow all the drama as your favorite team vies for it all. SiriusXM NBA Radio. SiriusXM 86.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Sunday, February the 23rd. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 1 p.m., Washington Capitals take on the Edmonton Oilers. Capitals on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 950, Oilers on Internet 930. 3:30 p.m., Pittsburgh Penguins take on the New York Rangers. Penguins on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 941, Rangers on Internet 938. 6 p.m., Nashville Predators take on the New Jersey Devils. Predators on XM 222, Internet 935, Devils on Internet 936. 6 p.m., St. Louis Blues face the Colorado Avalanche. Blues on XM221, Internet 944. Avs on Internet 926. 6 p.m., Tampa Bay Lightning face the Seattle Kraken. Lightning on XM220, Internet 945. Kraken on Internet 943. 6 p.m., Detroit Red Wings face the Anaheim Ducks. Red Wings on XM219, Internet 929. Ducks on Internet 920. 7 p.m., Chicago Blackhawks face the Toronto Maple Leafs. Blackhawks on XM223, Internet 925. Leafs on Internet 946. 7:30 p.m., New York Islanders take on the Dallas Stars. Islanders on XM201, Internet 937. Stars on Internet 928. 8 p.m., Calgary Flames take on the San Jose Sharks. Flames on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 923. Sharks on Internet 942. 8 p.m., Utah Hockey Club takes on the Vancouver Canucks. Utah on XM202, Internet 947. Canucks on Internet 948. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Sunday, February the 23rd. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 1 p.m., Washington Capitals take on the Edmonton Oilers. Capitals on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 950, Oilers on Internet 930.
SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 brings you expert analysis from former players, coaches, and executives, plus reaction to all the latest news on the only 24/7 station dedicated to the National Football League.
Former Buffalo Sabres head coach Don Granato was on the morning skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick for SiriusXM NHL Network Radio Channel 91 to talk about how different today's athletes are, as well as what it's been like to watch Austin Matthews grow.
It's really a switch in the last 10 years. First birth year I had at the national team program was 95 birth year. So it was JT Compher, Tyler Mott, that group. You have them for 2 years. So the next birth year coming in was the 97s, which was prolific. It was Austin Matthews and Matthew Kachuck and McAvoy and Hanifin and Werenski. And I remember talking to the coaches back then that this birth year is way different than the 95 birth year. And this summer, ironically, I picked up a book that titled The Anxious Generation. And I thought it was very well documented, and the author used the iPhone. And the iPhone came out in 2008 or 6, somewhere in that range. But social media didn't hit hard on the iPhone where you could rate a kid's looks if you're a high school student. And